Hello and welcome to the Yeerky Boys. May the Candrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
The Yeerky Boys.
Season 1, Episode 18 of the Animorphs TV show The Release is what we're going to be talking about today.
This episode aired on February 21st, 1999.
Wow. We're into February already.
Wasn't the last one like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before that? We were like still in January, I thought.
Yeah, this is around the period where all of the release dates didn't quite line up, so I feel like this January month, maybe different networks, all of them had some kind of weird grouping or spacing issue, but who knows, right?
It might
I
depend
don't.
on Canada versus America versus South America.
Yeah, but I do think no matter what system you use, there's some kind of strange airing issue. Like, there just aren't enough episodes in this time period to fill it out.
I
But
mean,
it might not have been a gap since the last one, is what I'm saying. It might have been a gap between the two before. I don't fucking know.
it's not that unusual for a kids show in any era to air sporadically and not have a consistent schedule. That's pretty much the norm for kids shows.
Sure.
You remember, like, even Saturday morning cartoons, sometimes it would just be like, this week there isn't one. And you'd be like, why? I don't know, because they didn't finish it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my problem with that is that I remember it from the perspective of a child where, like, if it came out every 2 weeks, I might be all like, why wasn't there one on the in-between weeks? And it was inconsistent and I'm just dumb because I don't have a good sense of, you know what I mean?
You're dumb.
I wasn't paying attention to that sort of thing as a kid in the same way. And time felt longer, you know what I mean? Like, now a week goes by like nothing.
I think it's still the same now, though. Well, now it's like everything's just on streaming, so I guess there's no more waiting for a new episode probably of any kids show.
Yeah, I feel like they drop like chunks of seasons or something now. I
Yeah.
might be wrong. Maybe that's only some shows, but they'll do like 4 episodes and then you wait a month and then another 10 and then you wait 6 months and another 2 or some weird shit. I don't fucking know.
What's an air date anymore? It means
Yeah,
nothing.
right? I no clue.
Well, now that we've concluded our usual format, we always begin with 5-minute discussion of release dates. The listeners just love it. It's their favorite part of the show.
That's what they're here for. We should put it at the end, because that way everybody wouldn't click off so fast.
Right, you keep them hooked. Well, let's do part 2 of this discussion at the end.
Okay, stay tuned for part 2 of air date discussion.
Because we have more to say.
Yeah, I mean, fun thing before we even go, we are definitively in February now, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of any air date conflicts. And that means that we have now moved on to another contemporaneous book. We would now be on book 27, The Exposed, for sure. So that's kind of exciting.
I feel like you've never announced this before. Why?
No. I usually say like, we're a bit January, so we'd be aligned up with book 26 or book 24.
Okay, I feel like it's come up in passing, but you've never had this kind of a statement right out front.
Sure. But I didn't want to miss making sure it got mentioned.
But there's no special significance or meaning for this episode or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. There is a little bit in that that means as of the release date of this episode, the Drode now exists in the public consciousness. So going forward, the writers of this show will be aware of his presence and might put him in.
The Drode is in the zeitgeist.
Yes.
All right. That's good to know. Well,
all right, now we got that out of the way.
Folks, just so you know, we're going to get into the episode in a minute, but if you want to email us, if you have feedback or questions, you can at theyeerkyboys@gmail.com. And if you like the show, you can sign up for more at patreon.com/theyeerkyboys for bonus episodes and other goodies. All right, that's it. That's all the preamble. Now we can start the show.
Hooray!
Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! 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 Woo!
But we don't have any other... I feel like this might have been a good episode to get some emails for.
Would I have said, let's start the show if there was something else? Now you've just painted a big bullseye on it so everybody really knows we have nothing else to do.
Well, this is I'm just bringing this up because this is just such a consistent problem, right? Like we'll have a I feel like this is probably an episode where we need an email. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see what the time ends up coming to. And so that means
You'll be
everyone's going to
wrong.
write in for next episode and we won't need them,
Well, here,
right? You got to write
tell
in when we don't say anything.
tell them right. You know what? I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
We won't be reading any emails next week.
Mhm.
But next week we'll be doing right up front. We know it's the season finale,
Yeah.
two-parter of season 1.
Mhm.
And then after that, we're going to be doing another episode, a little in-betweener before we move on to season 2. So if you have thoughts about the finale of season 1 or the season in general, then you can write in now, but we'll save it for that other episode. So there's your little advance notice.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's good to we'll get that off right off the bat.
It's fine. This is going to be a good episode. If you'd fucking
Writers,
get on with it.
directors, all
Yeah?
that shit.
They had 'em? They
Yeah,
had
they
both
had
of
them.
those?
They had them.
Both?
Directed by a Robert Sprogus,
Which
who
one?
I think is new, right?
Yeah, so Robert K. Sprogus. That can't be how
Hmm.
you say it. It can't be right. Sprogus?
I mean, what else am I supposed to say? Spragus? Spruggy?
You just know that he
Yeah.
gets that all the time. And he's like, it's bourgeois or something. It's
Okay, Sprogus is a fucking K. Applegate name, though. You got to admit.
it is. So this is the only episode of the show this guy directed. However, he is an editor on almost every episode of the show.
Okay, because I saw his name and I was like, what else did he direct from the show? Because I know I've seen his name before, and I'm like, I don't see it. What else was it? How come I know his name? I see
Yeah.
it got into my head.
Yeah, luckily you have me here to click one
Yes.
more button than you.
No, I
figure it
wasn't going to
out.
do that shit.
Um,
Fuck that.
so all
Or
the
look
times
at
we
the credits
complain
again. Yeah,
about the editing of this show, which is frequently,
yeah.
it
It's
is
this
this
guy.
guy's fault.
And now the direction is also his fault.
I'm assuming if a guy who only directs one episode and is the editor on all the other ones, that's got to mean that somebody just dropped out last minute and they were like, shit, we need someone to do this. Grab the
Yeah.
editor. Like we had nobody else who can
Yeah.
even close to do this job. It's got to be.
Yeah.
You'll
100%,
never
'cause otherwise
never
why is
guess,
he-
by the way, what other show he edited 36 episodes of.
Is it Goosebumps?
It is Goosebumps.
Did you bring that up because I know you said it on the show at one point. You said who the editor's name was. Might have even
Yeah.
been last episode.
Don't know. Probably. Maybe. Who can say?
Who can say? Our listeners can, but don't bother.
Who?
So writers. This is another Mark Scott Zickrey and Carl Ellsworth thing.
Yeah, and this is Carl Ellsworth's last episode.
Okay.
Although,
but we got
here-
more.
Here's the
Zickrey.
thing. Well,
Yeah.
Zickrey is a story editor usually, so
Okay. I
I
just
think
have
he-
them as a lumped. I don't see them separated.
yeah, I think he has his hand in this one. I think it said he did like the teleplay or something. I don't really know, but his name comes up in a lot of the credits, so he might be on every episode.
Well, he's not
No?
listed on the Wikipedia thing for every. I don't fucking know. Who knows? I'll,
I don't
I'll leave it to you. You're looking at it in more detail than I am.
I just know his names come up a lot. That's all I know.
Mhm. Yes.
I feel like it might be the same thing as like on IMDb. They always list K.A. Applegate as a writer, and it's like
Right.
yeah. As I was saying, this is Carl's last episode. This is the guy who wrote Disturbia, if you recall.
Okay.
But it's almost not even worth saying that because there's only like 7 episodes left of the show. So it's pretty much every episode is going to be someone's last episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're almost there. We're in a sense, we're not in the home stretch till we finish season 1, but we're basically there.
I think we have another Sean Levy still, don't we? Coming up, didn't he do 3 or 4 even?
I
Someone-
haven't looked forwed, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't looked forward to anything.
You're right. In a long, long time.
2 new actors here.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
have Kelly Turner as Karen, which might be pretty exciting to some of you who've read the books, but don't worry, it's not that Karen.
I was gonna say, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, okay.
And we have Christopher Marin as, of course, Mr. Perkins, who could forget Mr. Perkins?
I don't even know who Karen is
I
in
think
this
I know.
episode. Okay.
I'll see if you agree.
Now Christopher Marin or Marin or Morin,
Marin, sure.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
He's not been in too much else. He had some small parts apparently in Saw 3 and Saw 4 as voices. Not
Oh,
actually in it, like he did the voice of an
oh,
extra or something in the background.
that
But in
sucks. I was
two
excited
Saw
for a second.
movies, actually,
That is, but he doesn't
here's
even get tortured.
here's my guess is
Yeah.
he was in Saw 3 as a voice, and then Saw 4 has a flashback clip of Saw 3 because they
Yeah,
all do that.
that's got to be right.
Because otherwise, that's too weird. Like, how can you be important enough to be in 2 consecutive Saw movies but not be an
Right.
actual character?
Right. Yeah, we got to call back this guy for our random background voices. He did so good last time with this single line.
um, yeah, Mr. Perkins, which, by the way,
Hmm.
well, listen. Hopefully, no one's going to try to hack into my bank account or anything.
Uh-oh.
But Perkins is my mother's maiden name.
Mm.
It's also her current name because she never changed it and they're divorced.
Mother's maiden name is a terrible security question because it's like literally just you could look it up.
Well, it's because they came up with it at a time when it was like,
Yeah.
who knows? Surely your mother changed her name and
Yeah.
took her husband's name, and that's it.
Security questions are so bad because like 90% of the recommended ones are just like anyone could look this up and they don't let you make your own.
Well, I always do first a little bit differently. So, like, it'll say the name of your first pet, and I say Homer.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say like mother's maiden name, and I say Renfro.
Yeah, I often do name a first pet because it's impossible to guess. I'd have to be careful not to ever tell that story on the podcast now.
Wow. Why don't you just tell it now? No one's listening.
Yeah.
Patreon, maybe. Subscribe
Yeah,
to the
Patreon,
Patreon
maybe.
if you
If,
want
if
to
you want access to
steal
my bank account.
Dog Time's identity. Sorry,
Listen,
Will.
you're
His
gonna be
name's
if
Will.
you get access to my bank account, you're gonna be disappointed with your efforts.
Well, that's why I switched it to just stealing your identity, which
Mm.
actually that might be worse. Christopher Marin, though, Marren,
Mhm.
was it on this? I can't remember if it was Animorphs or something we did for the Patreon that somebody was in The Shape of Water. Was it an Animorphs actress?
Visser One's actress was in Shape of
Okay.
Water as a background cleaning lady.
Okay, right. So this guy, Mr. Perkins, this actor, he
Mhm.
also does like sound design or sound department crew stuff sometimes. He worked on the crew for The Shape of Water. So that movie is an Animorphs reunion.
Okay.
Right? But
We'll have
that's
to
not
do it for the
that's
Patreon, I
cool.
guess. It
I
is
mean,
kind of cool.
yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's
So, I
awesome.
mean, we're running out of Patreon room. Are we going to do Shape of Water or are we going to do X-Men?
They're even in this episode. Both of those, they're in this episode.
That's
So
true.
like that's a double. I'm sure they met up for lunch one day on The Shape of Water, and
Mhm.
they reminisced about Animorphs.
What do you think's better, this episode or The Shape of Water?
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean, I
The
can
Shape
tell
of
you right now, I
Water.
kind of had a release when I watched Shape of Water. That's one thing.
Okay, all right. Come on, come on. You're saying you
I
jerked
sure
off
am.
to it?
Whoa. Okay. You didn't have to take it there.
You're saying you blew a wad
Now, don't be gross.
watching a fish
It's not,
get fucked on screen?
I mean, kinda.
Gee, I wonder what shape that water took.
Jesus Christ.
This
I can't really
is your
complain. It's
lesson.
entirely my fault.
Yeah, this is what happened. This is you smoked a cigarette, and now you got to smoke the whole pack. That's what
Yeah, well,
happens.
our listeners are the ones who smoke the cigarette by putting this podcast on.
No,
They've gotta
they're
deal
getting
with us.
that's secondhand smoke, and they're just like, hey, that guy's smoking. I'm gonna go over there and put my mouth on the end of his cigarette.
Secondhand smoke's kind of cool. It's like a free cigarette.
That's true. That's kind of awesome. I should start
What
smoking.
are we fucking doing right now? Are we
Right.
talking about this episode?
Yeah,
This
let's talk
episode's
about
not a
it.
book.
No, although it does take elements from one book.
It does do that. Yes, that's true.
All right. Yeah. I mean, how do we usually start these things? We just start talking about what happens?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not a fucking book, so I'm not going to talk about that. So we open in this classroom, Mr. Perkins' class. Mr. Perkins here, sometimes when they put these guys in, like, oh, Kelly Turner is Karen, you're like, oh, she shows up in one scene, doesn't have. No, Mr. Perkins is going to be pretty important this episode.
Yeah.
So we open on his class, and he is talking to them. He's teaching a lesson, I guess, about wilderness survival. Right.
Yeah. This looks like, so this is a science class, right? Because they're at
Yeah, it's got
labs with
sinks.
sinks.
Yeah.
It's the same set as last time when they were frozen in time.
This is their chemistry class. I mean, this does look
Right.
like a high school chem class.
Right. But and I guess it's almost summer break. I guess it's the end of the season, so that's how TV seasons work. They line up with school
Y-
seasons.
I mean, I guess.
Well, because he says like, "Oh, in case any of you guys
Oh,
go out into the woods." I don't know if he actually says this summer, but that was kind
yeah,
of the
he
impression.
does. He talks
Yeah.
about the summer. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. See, I was going somewhere with that.
There's I don't I don't know if you have any feelings on this. I have
I have
feelings on
feelings.
this.
I have many feelings that I could say. Well, okay, so first of all, yeah, he takes a break from what we're presuming is a chemistry class to just talk to everyone about going for trips into the wilderness and how to survive. Let's just say this. Strong predator vibes from this guy. Right?
I mean, sure, I guess.
They're
I
going to get
wasn't
it.
necessarily getting that, but I didn't like anything happening, so
I think there's going to be more of that later on, but
Mhm.
anytime it's just like Jake wants to go talk to him alone, I just have a bad feeling this is going to be a special episode of Different Strokes or something he's going to be like, "Come on down to my basement, Jake." "Oh yeah, I heard about aliens too, Jake." Yeah. We can play about aliens in my basement, Jake." I don't know. That's just what I
Yeah.
get from him.
The
I don't
whole
like
listen, this whole fucking outdoors thing is really stupid. Like, I mean, first of all, okay, right off the bat, he talks about venturing out into the wilderness, quote, for the sole purpose of becoming one with nature, unquote, which was an immediate who wrote this fucking shit from me. And I guess it's Carl Ellsworth who's written a bunch of this. So I don't know what the fuck happened here. Who
I
says
think
for the sole purpose of becoming one with what the fuck are you
no, well,
talking about?
no, I mean, there's the reason that is the setup to a joke, to be fair. I think you're supposed to, because he says that, and then Jake says, it's called camping, Mr. Perkins. Like, you're supposed to, it's just there to set up Jake getting in, like, a zinger, so you can be
Okay,
like,
well, then maybe what I'm getting pissed off at is a fucking Monopoly Man joke, right? He
I
says
should
some
never have
stupid.
introduced the
Yeah,
concept of the Monopoly
he
Man.
shouldn't have. But like, no, he says some stupid bullshit that doesn't make sense, so they can call him out for saying it. No, like I'm already pissed off before they even call him out because why is he doing that? But no, then Jake calls him out. It is like it's called camping. He's like, camping is a very fancy word, Jake. What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's not.
Again,
What
yes.
happens when you don't have maps or tents or sleeping bags and you need to do what? What do you mean what happens when you don't have what when is this going to ever happen to you?
I see
Why are
what
we
this is. This is getting under your skin because you're like an outdoors guy and you hate when movies or TV shows are inaccurate about climbing or
I mean, I
hiking.
guess but like but like no, but for real, as not an outdoors guy, do you think this is a real thing that you would ever be lectured on? Would you also would you call that like not camping if you were all like I'm going to go out into the woods on purpose to spend the night, but I won't bring any supplies, so it's not camping? Like you'd call that camping. You'd just be like why the fuck didn't you bring any supplies? Are you stupid?
Well, I'm more into glamping myself, but I mean, look, all the dialogue is weird and strange, but I do
Yeah.
think it, I think it's intentionally strange, which is not to say that it's justified or that
Mhm.
it's good in that even in that regard. But I do like we're gonna find out why this guy is saying this stuff, kind of.
Kind of. I have problems with why he's saying it too. We'll get to those.
I mean, can we just who the fuck cares? We can just say spoilers. You've either either watched the episode or you're gonna hear it in 10 minutes.
I mean,
But
I guess I don't even the problem is I don't even know where we are in the timeline of what's gonna happen with him at this point.
well, I'm just gonna
Okay,
say it.
sure, sure. Yeah, say it. Go for
At
it.
some point, we find out. I mean, I'm even a little confused about how all this works, to be honest with you.
Right.
But
Yeah. For
at,
sure.
s-
Yeah.
at some point, we find out that Perkins is sort of like working against the Yeerks somehow. Okay, so I don't I almost I don't know if the idea is supposed to be. Does he suspect that maybe there's like an Andalite in the school and he's trying to drop messages for them? Maybe that's
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a total
Yeah.
like throwing that out there. I don't
There's
know.
like a running theme throughout this episode that he is using this wilderness survival as like coded speak. Like, a normal person would say, "Oh, why the fuck is he talking about this?" But if you're in the know that there's a Yeerk invasion, you'd say, "Ah, he's talking about it because he knows about the invasion. He's trying to signal to me." And maybe I'll go up to him and be like, "So, Mr. Perkins, tell me more about wilderness survival," and he wink wink, and he'll be like, "Ah, you know about your," and like, what? Why? First of all, like, why would that signal that, like, if I knew about Yerks and someone's talking about wilderness survival, my thought isn't he knows about it too, right? It's still a
Yeah.
fucking weird thing to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
If I like and you don't think some regular student wouldn't maybe be like, that is kind of interesting or something. Like, what is any of this supposed to be?
It was the
I don't
90s.
get it.
These kids were just happy he wasn't fucking talking about chemistry. They don't give a shit. They're like
I was
falling
wondering if maybe
asleep.
this is a Canada thing, like that there's no civilization up there, so you end up in the woods a lot. And like,
That's true.
maybe down here it's like, okay, even if I were going cross country and backpacking, I could still bring cooking supplies and a tent and a sleeping bag, and maybe I'd have to spend money to make them light enough to carry, but I'd still do it. Why would I go out with nothing? But in Canada, maybe they just don't have supplies or money. It's the Wild West out there, so this is a real thing you need to
Wild
know
North.
about, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe this is normal in Canada is what I'm saying.
Yeah. 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 I mean, my main issue with this is just that he's a chemistry teacher
Yes.
and not like I mean, there's not a what teacher. I don't know. They could have made him a history teacher and maybe he's like talking about in the Civil War, they were out in the woods and had to survive during a battle or something. Like tie it into what he does somehow as opposed to just it's weird that he's
Yeah.
just talking about it out
I
of
mean, make
nowhere.
it not a fucking lecture. Just be like, summer's coming on, and I'm going to go cross
Hmm.
country camping, which I think is cool.
Right.
Let me tell you about it, or something, as
Oh.
opposed to being like, for tomorrow, you have to think up 5 ways to survive in the wilderness and bring them in. Something he actually says. Like, what
Well,
the
make
fuck is
it
that?
here's the solution. It's an English class and they all have to write an essay on what they're going to do this
Mm,
summer.
you have to read to start a
Although
fire or whatever that's called, and
that feels a little like the problem is they're in high school and that's more like elementary school.
yeah.
But eh.
Sure. Why, listen, it's the end of the year. Extra credit. Fucking
Right.
you get 10 more points toward your grade or some shit. I don't know.
I like the signs they have in the background. There's a volcano with a big poster board of someone's project that says volcano on it.
Oh, good, good. Another one of
Class.
these like middle school, sixth grade
Hmm.
science fair shit
And
things.
then there's another one on the other side that just says pollution of groundwater. So
Mm.
that's
Right. Yeah,
important.
that's not so good. Oh, so maybe this is like an earth sciences class,
There's
you
also
know?
a banner with planets on it, like the solar system.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
don't
kind
know.
of
It's a they
sort
do
of
science in
confusing.
this room.
Yeah, it's
Every
it's
science
science.
class is in here.
All science.
Yeah.
um, okay. I don't. By the way, I did think Jake shut the fuck up when he says it's called camping. I was like, shut the fuck up, Jake. Don't interrupt the teacher, you little smartass. I didn't like it.
What about when Marco, though,
Now
interrupts the
that I
teacher?
like, that was
That is
very
pretty
funny.
funny.
Marco says, "What?" He's like, what do you need to bring in the wilderness?" And Marco says, "A pizza or something."
Well, of note, he says, I'd bring my cell phone and order a pizza because we're in 1999 now. So cell
Wow,
phones exist.
wow. I mean, yeah, they're the size of your head, but
Yeah.
they're there.
Can I
Mark,
just say, on
yeah.
average, it takes me about twice as long to write notes for the episode as it does to watch the episode. The first minute of this episode took me about 7 minutes because I had so much I wanted to complain about.
That is hmm. I mean,
Which is
that's
about
no
how far in we are right now.
it's been noted. It has been noted. I for better or worse tend to not stop the episode to write notes.
Mm,
I just run with it as we go and half look at my phone
mm.
and make typos.
I'm afraid I'll miss like a poster or something if I do that. And
Yeah, I'm
usually
just
it's
not
not a big
that
deal, but
worried about it, you know?
yeah.
Like I'm looking at it now. I didn't write a note
Yeah.
about those posters. That
Yeah.
came to me now in the moment.
Right. Well,
Uh,
sometimes I just don't want to like scroll through it constantly while we're talking.
I just think you don't need to be so precious about this show. That's my opinion.
Now, what about after Marco makes his pizza
Well, hold on.
crack?
I don't want to
Oh,
move
yeah.
past because I think it's important to say Jake asks
Yeah,
crispy
this
or
is what I'm yeah,
thin
yeah,
and
yeah.
crispy or deep dish. Oh, you were going to talk about the
This
pizza
is
still?
exactly what I was going to talk about. Yes, is this pizza.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Just sounded like you're moving past the pizza,
Oh,
so
no, no, no.
yeah.
I am not fucking moving past this thin and crispy or fucking deep dish shit.
Yeah, and Marco says his preference for pizza is hand tossed.
Oh, no, you're glossing over it. They
What
both
am
look
I?
at each other and say in unison,
Oh, they
hand
do.
tossed.
Oh, in unison. My favorite way to write speech in a book. Um. Oh wow. So hand tossed is just like normal pizza, right?
Yeah, normal.
Right.
Like
That's just
pizza. Like what you
pizza.
mean when you say pizza.
Like at Domino's, that's an option.
Right.
It just means pizza.
Yeah, and thin and crispy is like if you want it thinner. It's more like a frozen pizza is
Like
where you would get thin and crispy usually.
or I think Detroit style is more like the thinner.
Sure. And then deep
Um.
dish is a different thing. It's not
Right.
pizza.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a different
And
meal. It's not even that deep dish is bad. It's just, different. It's
well,
not
then what made this moment more interesting is then they pan over to Cassie and Rachel, who look at each other and in unison say Altoona style.
mmm. God, I
That's-
fucking hate them.
Everyone Google
They fucking
Altoona
would
pizza.
too.
Yeah, they would. Um, okay. Okay, great. So we covered the pizza discussion.
Yeah.
That's important. We know Jake and Marco prefer normal pizza.
Yeah, of course. This is where Perkins shows them a technique they can use to survive in the wilderness, which is that he eats a cricket, a live cricket.
Does he have like a jar full of crickets, or is
Yes,
there
he
just
has a
one in
jar
there?
full of live crickets, and he
I
pulls one
well,
out and eats it.
so
At least
maybe
one
they
of them's
have
alive.
they might have like a pet snake in the classroom or something, or a
Sure.
lizard, something that eats. I guess snakes eat mice, but something eats crickets. Otherwise, why would he have these?
Yeah. Yeah, right? He likes to eat, he snacks on them.
So this is where I think you're supposed to be
Yeah.
going, oh, this guy's maybe a Yeerk because a normal person wouldn't do weird shit like that.
Yeah, but he's already being weird and not. And also, why would a Yeerk eat a cricket?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I don't
mean,
know. I would not, if I knew about Yeerks, I would not be like, oh, he's acting weird. He must be a Yeerk. I'd be like, he's acting weird. He must be fucking bonkers. He's less likely to be a Yeerk because a Yeerk would control that dumbass
but
impulse.
you're thinking too much like book Yeerks. In this
Right.
show, the Yeerks don't really
They're just
have a.
stupid.
They're just crazy bad guys who do crazy evil stuff. It doesn't. That's it. Yeah. So like one guy runs out of the classroom and throws up after he does this.
That guy's you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like this. It is horrible. I don't like eating bugs. Does he actually? It looks like he really does eat a bug.
I
Is it like
wonder.
a? Do you think it's a? I don't know. Is it a trick? Do they cut away and they replace it with a little candy cricket?
I don't know. I have to take a look at it here and see if I can't see it. But I mean, I will say this is a bad technique to survive in the wild. You probably shouldn't eat random insects without like cooking them or
Okay.
something. They might have parasites.
Well, that's
And at
true.
that point, you have fire.
I just rewatched
I mean, I guess
the
you could.
scene in question, and he very clearly holds it in his hand and just pretends to put it in his mouth and does not actually eat it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I see it.
He fooled me.
Who does this guy think he is? Fucking Bear Grylls?
Right.
I
That's a
hate him.
good. Is that a
I don't
timely
like Perkins.
reference? Is that
It is. Everyone knows. I don't like Perkins. Is
who
my
does this
point
guy
here.
think he is? Joe Rogan?
I don't
Because he
get
used
it.
to host Fear Factor.
Oh shit! Fuck. Yeah, but here's the thing: Joe Rogan's known for different stuff now.
Right. But in 1999, that's what you would have said when this show aired. Who does this guy
Hmm.
think he is? Joe
Sure.
Rogan? And
Yeah.
everyone, and they'd be like, "Geez, I wish I could be like Donald Trump." And you know who my hero is? Bill Cosby. You'd say stuff like that all the time back then.
Yeah. No, those were just normal things people said back then. We live in a different world now. I mean, what about this? Okay. I need you to verify this for me. If you go to around the 1 minute and 20-second mark, that's how far in we are. He holds up the cricket. There's a background voice who says something about him eating it, and I swear to God, this kid says, fucking eat it. I need you to listen to it now and tell me if that's what he says.
Surely that's not what he
It
says.
can't be, right?
Maybe I'll put a clip in. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
listen. I don't hear anyone saying anything at a minute 20. I hear no sound.
Hold on. Well, it's around there. Maybe it's a little earlier.
Oh, great! You gave me a specific timestamp and it's
I'm
wrong.
sorry. I thought it might be there, but it might be a couple
This is
seconds
bad
before.
podcasting.
Cut this part out and just put the clip in. It's
Oh
fine.
no. Okay, I think what he said is he's not gonna eat it, is he? That's what I
Hmm.
heard. He's not gonna eat it, is he?
Well, that's not what I heard.
Yeah. Well, no, it's one of the two. Maybe he says just fucking eat it.
They somehow didn't catch it.
I'm gonna say this. I
Yeah.
think right after this
Hmm.
is maybe my favorite Rachel moment of the whole show.
It is.
Yeah.
Why?
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
also
Walk
saying
me through.
Rachel has had no good moments. Is also what I'm saying.
Okay. Walk me through
Marco's
why you like it.
Marco's laughing. He loves that his teacher just ate a cricket. He's like, "This is
Hmm.
fun. We're having a good school day today, baby." Because
Hmm.
he's a little gremlin. He likes chaos and
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah. He's right.
And then Rachel looks upset and she's like, "That could have been one of us." Because they morph into
Yeah.
bugs. She has
Uh-huh.
she has a relationship with the bugs now. I thought it was a good delivery. I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, I guess I was too busy looking at Marco's like face falling and being like, are you gonna tell me that Marco, who every time they hate bugs says, I fucking hate morphing bugs so much, is now like, oh yeah, I empathize with bugs now because I've been one.
But he's never done that on the show.
He has said I hate bugs on the show multiple times.
I don't even remember one. If he has, it's just because the script said to do it. It's not because he actually feels that way.
Like, am I to believe?
He's
Do you think they're
evolving. He's
Do you think they're
changed.
all vegetarians now? Because I gotta tell you, like, maybe you could get me to be like, oh, I've been a cow. It's hard for me to eat cows or something. But a bug? Like, I'm gonna be a cricket and be like, boy, I really understand the plight of the cricket
I
now.
think you're overthinking it. It's not that they understand the plight. It's not that they're empathizing with crickets. She's just like, oh no, I've been one of those, and that would be scary because I could picture what it would be like to be picked up and eaten.
Yeah, but you also know what a cricket brain is like, and you're like, fuck, who cares?
Well,
It's a cricket.
they
It's not
don't,
because it's not one of them.
right? But it could have been.
Well, no, it couldn't. They're here.
But it could have been.
No,
They're
they
not.
couldn't.
It could have been.
They've been crickets, but that cricket could not have been one of them.
But it
Like,
could have been them.
I just don't think so.
Yeah, that could have been them.
Listen,
It's
I'll
just
give
a
you this point.
saying.
I'll give you this point.
You're
Rachel
overthinking
does in
this.
fact deliver a line with a facial expression.
You're overthinking. You got a negative attitude. I just think you need to get your head in the right place to
Hmm.
enjoy this Rachel moment.
Sure. Okay. Enjoy this Rachel moment.
Yeah.
Marco, by the way, is back in his dark purple jacket. I do like this jacket. It's not as good as his orange one, but
Mhm.
it is nice. I
Yeah,
enjoyed seeing him put it on. I
that's
like
good.
his swagger.
Yeah, keep going. Anything else you wanna say?
I mean, I guess Perkins stumbles out of his class all sweaty and shit.
Yeah, so
You
then
know,
Perkins is, like,
yeah.
having some kind of a meltdown,
Right, right,
and
right.
Marco sees him in the hallway and is just like just, like, ignores him.
It's like that's what you get for eating crickets. Like, come
Oh,
on.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I don't buy it. I'm not feeling
But
it.
what do you mean you don't what don't you buy? What do you mean you don't
He's
buy
not
it?
saying it as a joke. Like, look, his face is like dead serious.
Right.
Marco doesn't fucking care if he ate a cricket. Come on.
I don't
Nobody
understand.
cares. Maybe Rachel does because I don't know who she is, but no normal
I
person.
Again, I really think you're reading too much into I think it's just
I'm
he's just
not
saying
reading
a
too much
joke.
into it. Like I'm reading into it into a reaction that I had without thinking. My initial reaction was this is stupid. I'm just explaining why I had it.
Okay. But I just think Marco is just it's just a joke. He's just like, "Oh, that's what happens when you eat crickets. You throw up."
It's not.
Ha.
Look at his fucking face. Listen, Marco delivers jokes. He doesn't deliver this. Whatever. We don't need to
It's a
talk about
deadpan joke.
this
It's just a
fucking cricket
deadpan
anymore.
joke. I don't. But what you think that he's like? Oh man, you think he's happy that his teacher is being punished for eating a cricket that's innocent and defenseless? Is
I
that
don't
what
know
you
what to
think?
think. I don't know what to think
That's
because it
not the
doesn't make any
case.
sense. Yeah, it can't be the case,
It
but that
makes
seems to be what's
perfect
presented to
sense.
me.
This is
You're just saying it's
madness.
not what's being presented to you because that would make no sense. It must be something else.
We've hit a new low in things to argue about on this show because this is the dumbest thing.
The cricket.
He
Yeah,
ju-
well, listen. Okay, we're gonna be on time. We're gonna make time this week. We're not gonna
I knew
go
we
under because we're
would.
2 fucking minutes in. We're talking about
Well,
this
it's
cricket. I can't
because
believe.
which one of us spent 20 minutes talking about the teacher and the cricket just now? It was you. It's your fault.
I didn't think you were gonna push back. I thought you'd be like, "Yeah, that was stupid," and we would move on.
Well, this is what always happens. One person thinks something is dumb and doesn't understand the other person's non or reaction to it.
Yeah.
It's the
Uh,
way it always goes. Because I was like, yeah, it is dumb, but it didn't enrage me. I wasn't thinking about it after the scene was over. I was like, yeah, that's something weird's going on. Okay, moving on.
anyway,
I
Perkins is
won't lose
stumbling
sleep
out.
tonight thinking
He's
about this.
stumbling out. We can move on from the cricket. He's sweating. We got the stumbly camera flying all over the place and going around. This is Sprogus's work, I guess.
Sprogus's
Um,
masterpiece.
his masterpiece. Um, I should actually point out. So this is a part that's taken from the books, right? Is that the teacher kind of has a meltdown in class because his Yeerk is dying, as we're gonna eventually find out here.
Mhm. The
And that did
Alien.
happen. Alien? What?
That happened in The Alien.
Yes, in the Alien, book 8, the Alien. Yes. Now the teacher in that book was called Mr. Pardue, not Mr. Perkins. So what do you think about that name change? Good idea?
Yes.
Okay.
100% a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Why is
Um
it Miss Pardue? I don't even fucking know.
I don't know either. So he calls somebody on the phone, presumably another Yerk. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah. Chapman? I don't know.
Yeah, why would I guess? I don't know.
He's the
But he says
school guy.
but like he could just go to Chapman's office. Why would he
Oh, true. Visser 3?
yeah, I don't know. But he
Yeah.
says something about I swear he says Geff. It sounds like he says Geff. Like his name is Geff
He,
before he
he
says his number. I
oh,
don't know what he
doesn't I thought he
says.
just says 557 here.
Before
I don't
that, it
know.
sounds like there's some muttering. It's like
Hmm.
Geff. I don't know. I don't know what he
Hmm.
says. I could be mishearing it. Um, and yeah, he's like, "I'll be in school all day" or something. Maybe he was supposed to make a meeting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something is happening.
Yes, at this point, I think, or at least I believed, oh yeah, he has a Yeerk, and the Yeerk is like dying, but his Yeerk is still trying to go through with plans. I think we are gonna later find out that he might be lying here. This might be the human host coming through.
Yeah, I am pretty unclear on how the mechanics
Yes.
of that work based on this
Yeah,
episode.
because it does seem like well, whatever. We're gonna find out that Perkins is pretending to still be a controller, even though his Yeerk has died. Right? That's gonna happen. So I guess at this point he's saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm still on to do stuff or whatever."
Yeah, I
But
think
that
that
does,
is the
yeah.
Yeerk fighting through in his head still.
Hmm. Okay, because I was wondering, like, how does that square with the rant in the classroom with the wilderness survival code? Because in theory, that's
Hmm.
the human trying to signal to Andalites or something, right? I guess. But then, but then he has his meltdown afterwards. So what's going when? Like, how is the? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's extremely it's not. It's just very messy. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
If you
I don't.
trying to
Yeah,
actually map it out, it does not it doesn't make sense. There's
yeah.
no that is the case. There's
Yes.
no defense of it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think so. One thing I'm going to bring back a lot of times in this episode is that I feel like this episode has several ideas for plots, but doesn't really want to think them through. And I think this
Hmm.
is an artifact of that. Like, right,
Hmm.
like what if there was a teacher who lost his Yerk, like in the Alien, but he pretended to still be a controller and he's trying to signal them and blah blah blah. That's a cool idea for a plot. You want to write it? No, we'll just do some scenes and it'll work itself out maybe.
I'm gonna
And
say
that's why it
this.
doesn't hold together.
I'm gonna say this. I liked this episode.
Oh, really? I mean, I will say this, for me, this was by far my least favorite of all of the new plot episodes. Like, if you take all the plots
uh,
that weren't books, this is bottom for sure.
I mean, I would have to remember what those all are and think about them. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah, I thought this was a good one. I thought this was
Mm,
a good one. And
interesting. I
and
just
I
kept
thought, "Oh, we'll both like this one, I think."
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I kept being like, "Oh, that's cool. What are they gonna do with that?" And then it wasn't just immediately they'd encounter a problem and I'd be like, the solution to that problem is obvious but also interesting and something you should build a plot around. And then they'd be like, no, it's irreconcilable. Well, time to move on to the next plot point. That didn't matter anymore. Wouldn't that be interesting? And I'm like, oh, here's another interesting thing, I guess. Oh, except it's not interesting. I was just frustrated the whole time.
Why does this it all it how what is
I don't
happening that it seems to always come down to this? It's the same thing it always
It
comes down to
is.
when
It
we
really is.
disagree.
It doesn't fucking hold together.
And my entire thing is just like, yeah, but it was a cool idea. I liked it.
Well, I want to see the cool idea. Listen, I like it better. I far prefer to see Axe stumbling around because it doesn't promise me some interesting idea that could get fleshed out. It promises me Axe stumbles around and then he does it.
You would rather
Yay.
see
That's what I
shit
want.
that sells itself to you as shit, undisguised,
It's
than
not shit.
than an attempt at something good that doesn't
I,
make it.
I want to see an idea presented to me and then paid off. And if the idea is have fun stumbling around with Axe, then like, cool, that's paid off. I had fun stumbling around with him. If the idea is, what if there were this human controller working or whatever, then like, I don't want to hear what if. I want to see it happen.
Well, listen,
What if isn't good enough.
let's go
We'll
through
get
the
to it.
episode itself
We'll
and we
get to it.
can
We'll get to it.
have this. But
Yeah,
now
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see two different perspectives coming in
All
here.
right. All
I
right. Now,
mean, it
how
was
about
pretty obvious from the beginning that you were out to get this episode irrationally, but it's fine. Keep going.
How about this? How about this? What about this shot of his hand raising up right before the opening?
Oh my
You
god,
know,
we still
he's
didn't. Can we get past the opening? We're
no,
still
no,
on
no.
this.
He's like the camera's all
Yeah,
swirling
yeah, yeah.
around. He like lifts his hand up and clenches it into a fist. It's kind of I kind of like it. I guess it's supposed to symbolize like him overcoming the Yerk, but I got to say when
Hmm.
he did it the way it is shot, I really thought for a second it was going to turn into a paw and he was going to morph.
I did. I do. Yeah. I do think it is shot in a way that makes you think something's going to happen to his
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit strange. But, eh,
Well,
yeah.
listen, once we get through the opening, it'll be less.
Yeah, right. Alright, so then the opening happens,
And the opening theme song happens.
and then we're in Siberia.
Mhm, mhm.
Rachel's being rude to Marco, which I don't like.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, she's not yeah.
She's
I agree.
she's she says some remark, and then she says that she's sorry,
Mhm.
which I didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Also,
Perkins also
Mr.
said something about, like, tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot
exactly.
of that.
Said tomorrow. Don't like it. Don't
Mhm,
like it.
mhm,
Now, they're all discussing this. So, okay, I did not remember, and some of this may or may not be a factor in our enjoyment of the episode. But until I looked up afterward, I couldn't have been watching this being like, oh, this
mhm,
is like the Alien.
mhm,
I knew like, oh, something like this kind of happens, right? Is this like the EGS because they destroyed the Kandrona?
mhm.
But then I also was like, are they just doing? Isn't this just the oatmeal? Are they just doing that again? And all the Yeerks get sick and go crazy, and like, isn't that exactly what happened in that
It is
episode and book?
weird that they seem to portray them all starving as them getting sick. That is a
Yeah,
very weird choice that I don't understand.
right. So I'm like, okay, I don't like that. Seems a bit redundant. Then this another controller just happens to waltz up to them in the cyber cafe who's
Yeah,
having this sickness.
so this is who I think Karen is,
Okay. Yeah.
I
W
think.
Well, we probably will
Uh,
meet Karen Jr. in season 2 then.
mm. Yeah, no, she shows up, there's more stumbly cam, she's all like, "I'm free, the Yerk is out, I'm free, no more Yerk." It's, a little odd.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very sloppy. Like, I guess,
Yeah.
obviously, it's a human, so I guess they're desperate and they're like, "Oh my god, I have to tell somebody," but
Yeah.
it feels very,
It's not, like, well written or performed. She comes across more like losing the Yerk made her kinda go a little bit crazy, which could be a thing, except, because like, we have old Fran, and I guess in the books, we're gonna get Hildy eventually, but, he had half a dead year. I don't know. But, like, Jake didn't go crazy, I guess. So, like, I don't know.
well, this is
It's
a
just weird.
different thing, or it's not really.
Well, they're
I don't know.
starving from lack of Kandrona.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I mean, I guess Jake's Yerk kinda went crazy, but it was,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
then
know.
Jake was, like, fine immediate like, Jake himself was fine. I don't know, maybe she's still dying. It's kinda weird. I, this is another, uh, oh, hair down alert, by the way. So
Oh,
she she,
for Axe, you mean?
right, for Axe, who is here. Um,
He's here.
yeah, so she's doing it, and they have this whole thing where they're like, "Oh, we should, get her out of here. We should help free her." And, like, go to surround her, and then that they just kinda don't. Like, some controllers come in and are like, "We'll take it from here," and they're like, "Oh, okay. I guess it's too," like, which just seems kinda dumb. Like, don't you just immediately say, like, "Oh, hey," like, make a scene and be like, "Oh, hey, she doesn't look too comfortable. Maybe we should call someone. We'll stick around," or something. No, they're just like, "Oh, I guess the controllers are already here in a public place. Yeah, go ahead, take her. It's too late. It's too there's nothing we could possibly do." Uh, it
Right.
feels like there's a lot of time building up to this that's just like, what are we doing?
I mean, it's a lot of, they don't remember they can morph.
Mhm.
Like
They
like,
don't
why
even
don't
remember that they're in a public place and can make a scene as a human being. Like,
sure.
they could just say, "Hey, I don't know, she seems kinda fucked up. Are you comfortable going with them?" And she could be like, "No!" And then you could be
Well,
like, "Maybe we should call someone." You know what I mean? Like, they're
I mean
not gonna get shot with Drake guns in the middle of Siberia.
I mean, maybe not this. I don't know if this is a good defense, but it could be they don't want the to be on the Yerk's radar at all. They don't want to like a controller to be like, that kid, why is he fucking with me? I'm gonna capture him later or something. They just don't want to be
Yeah.
known.
I guess, but, like, then why do they rush to try to get her out once they see the Yeerks are here for her? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're right. They still do walk right up to them and
Yeah.
talk to
I
them.
I mean, I guess and this is partly a book thing. Part of the reason I'm questioning this is because in the books, they see the crazy chick, and instead of saying, "Let's go get her somewhere safe," they say, "Oh, perfect. People are going crazy, so, like, that's just gonna sort itself out, right? Like, we don't need to rescue this one person. There's tons of people everywhere, and so it's gonna be great." Because they don't know that the Yeerks are gonna hunt them down and exterminate them. And, uh, and that plot line is not really a main plot line. It ties into the Axe plot line where he's doesn't
Mhm.
wanna tell them that the Yeerks are gonna exterminate them because he doesn't talk to them. But Axe already has gone through that arc. He talks to them now, so they can't do that. So immediately when they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go help her," I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is interesting. We're gonna have a plot where they get freed, and instead of, that tying into something else, that's the main plot. That's interesting." And then I don't know, not really.
Yeah,
I got excited and then I got let down,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Like if I guess if you weren't getting excited for it, it might not be a letdown. I just got excited is all.
Yeah. You have preconceived notions of what you think should happen.
Eh. I have preconceived notions of what might happen, so when I see them getting violated, I go, "Oh, cool. What's going to happen?" And then when it's nothing, I'm like, "Oh,
A lot of this stuff is just par for the course for me at this point. It's like, have you
I
not been
guess."
watching this show? Like, what do you expect? Like, yeah, they don't follow them. They could just morph into bugs and follow them and see where they go. But it's like, yeah, well, they never do that. So of course they aren't going to do it. Maybe
Yeah.
I've just accepted what this show is more than
I
you have.
I mean, I guess I thought maybe we're using this to set up a plot line where we're going to go around trying to rescue a bunch of controllers. Nah. Well, they do something like that, but like this doesn't tie into that. It doesn't feel like tightly written. You know what I mean? I
Well,
don't
they're
know.
still very confused. They don't really know what's going on yet, and neither
Hmm.
do I. At this point in the episode, maybe that's
Yeah.
part of it. I still was like, I don't really know what's happening with
Mm,
the Yeerks.
I see. You weren't just like that's Pardue or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, yeah, 100% not. And in fact, even
yeah.
later on, I think I had a completely wrong notion. I think of what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to come up in like the next scene where they say it's because they destroyed the Kandrona. But this is
Right.
another thing that I think is a problem with the overall show. Maybe not this episode in particular, but this is happening because they destroyed the Kandrona, right? Now, in the books, the Kandrona was destroyed at the very end of book 7, and the opening of book 8 is the Yeerks suffering for it. Here, the Kandrona was destroyed 3 episodes ago, which might have been back in November. Um, and so you're like, "Wait, the Kandrona was destroyed? When the hell did that happen?" Oh, shit. Yeah, that was back in The Leader,
I sure hope you're
right?
also like paying attention because they don't re-explain what a Kandrona is.
No, they don't.
They don't say a Yerk pool. They don't. None of that shit is
Yeah,
said.
no, they don't say any of that shit.
Does they even say EGS tower? I don't think so.
No, well, because it wasn't at the EGS tower. This
Mm,
was whatever, or no, maybe it was? No,
I
yeah, it
don't.
was the EGS tower. You're right, you're right. It was the
Yeah,
EGS
yeah, yeah.
tower. It just
Because
wasn't like in a tower. It was in a warehouse, an industrial
right,
warehouse that was called the EGS tower.
right. There was a tower somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Um. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, yes. I mean, yes, I
Mhm,
agree. Many of these things are confusing and could have been presented much clearer.
mhm.
There's no doubt about that. Um, uh, okay. Well, then we get. Also, I wanted to know what Marco is holding at the end of the scene. It looks like he's got like a
Yeah.
crudité platter or something. What is on that plate he's got?
I am not sure. Yeah, I was more getting mad at Sprogus again for how for the ending of this scene where after this woman gets kidnapped by Yeerks, Jake and Marco bump into each other and he drops all his food off the plate and Jake's like, "Oh, great. And now we dropped our food too," as though that like what first of
Well, I
all,
think he
what the
gets it
fuck is
on
that?
Jake, doesn't he? Like he like
Oh
gets it on
no,
Jake's
there's
shirt.
food on my shirt.
Yeah, because that's
But
classic comedy.
Stupid. But also, I gotta say, the way that it is shot, I was not clear what happened because it was like it was not edited together very well, and you don't even like see you like hear a clatter, and then you sort of vaguely see the empty plate in Marco's hands half off screen. It is hard to tell what even happened. I did not think it was good.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of funny.
What is on his plate though? You're the food guy. You're the
I
Vichy
am.
Soir guy or whatever.
I'm the guy who has eaten at higher class restaurants than Applebee's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of the two of us, that makes me the food guy.
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen,
I've watched The Bear.
would you call me the food guy? Would
I sure like
how
to eat it.
on average, how many people would you have to add to a group before I am no longer the food guy? Is it one more? Is it just me and anyone else in the world?
Well, food guy is a broad term.
Hmm.
I wouldn't call you the gourmet food guy. I might call you the fast food guy.
Mhm.
I
Tell
might
me
still
what's
have you
on his
beat
plate. I
there.
want to know.
I thought it was crudité.
Huh. I don't know what
That's,
that means.
that's my only. That's like what you call like like carrot sticks and celery sticks and dip, like a platter of
Oh,
like at a party. It's like a
okay.
crudité.
I know what that is.
Yeah, that's what it's
People have
called.
those like veggies and dip shit, whatever. It happens.
Right. It's
Carrots and dip.
French. It's
Yeah.
French.
I don't know French.
Yeah, it's got an accent mark over the E.
Mm. That's
Guess
pretty
I guess
cool.
I am the food guy.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe you're just the French guy.
I can just imagine you at the grocery store like, I need to buy some crudite. Fucking idiot. You don't know French, you dumbass.
Yeah, you're right. If I had to go to a grocery store in France, I'd be fucked.
I don't think they do that in France. I think it's only here. I don't know what the origin of it is. There's no way they have crudité. In France, they're having bread and cheese and shit.
Sure, sure.
They're probably
Yeah,
like
that's true.
to that like crudité is probably something completely different. It's like a Chinese food restaurant here versus in China.
Yeah, I feel like once you get into like, you know, central-ish Europe, they don't eat vegetables anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
at its
no.
worst in Germany, over in France it's, still whatever. Over to the east they don't have food.
What's the deal? In China and probably other countries, Asian, I don't know, other countries,
Uh-oh.
they drink no, it's fine. They drink
Okay.
hot water over there.
Hmm.
Like with like not tea, not with lemon. Like they'll just drink hot water like the way we would drink cold water. The fuck is wrong with them over there? I thought they're supposed to be better than us. We're
I'm
losing
not
to
sure what
that?
prompted this. Was it just weird food
Yeah, I was
choices
thinking
of other
about
countries?
differences in
Okay,
how we in our diets in different
I
countries,
see.
and
And that's just been kind of in your brain that you've been mad at East Asian cultures for drinking hot water.
well, I learned about it by going on Red Note,
Uh-huh.
the Chinese spying app that I'm a
Right,
part
right.
of,
Yeah, of course.
and
We love
yeah,
China here,
and
folks.
to them, they're going, "You guys never drink hot water?" Like they think that's weird.
They
But I'm
probably think it's weird that we drink cold water. They're probably like,
yeah,
"Isn't it too cold for you?"
I think that's a thing actually in throughout Europe.
Mm.
That they will not, if you get water at a restaurant, it will never have ice in it.
Mm.
And they come here and they're like, why the fuck are Americans so obsessed with ice in all their drinks? Like, they don't get our thing about cold
Mm.
drinks.
It's like fucking fan death or something. They're just stupid and don't understand how things work in other cultures.
It hits different. The cold hits different.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to tell me that. This is obvious on the face of it.
Well, we have a lot of European listeners.
Oh. Well, learn to drink.
All right. Well, this has been a good one. Let's, I guess, talk about the next scene.
Yeah, oh, okay, okay. We get to see Visser 1 and
This is a
Victor
good
Trent
scene.
again. It
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Okay. At
I
least
like
you
this
got to
scene.
give me this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, Visser 1 berates Visser 3 and Eugene Lipinski gets to get berated. It's good.
Yes, the two of them interacting is great.
Yes.
I've
I actually
I've
think it's better over hologram than in person for some reason.
that maybe that's because she can't live up to Eugene
Mm,
Lipinski, so he gets to just play off
mm.
of himself, and that's better.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe not wrong. I was speculating that maybe it's because I was expecting her to be like a little bit more, I don't know, flamboyant, but when you're in a Star Wars hologram, you just have to be stiff so it doesn't seem as out of
Hmm.
place. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know, but
Yeah,
it works. It works for whatever reason.
she feels right to me. Her character
Yeah.
reads right to me, and yeah, they
In this
just have a.
scene, yeah.
It is great to just it's sorry to say it, kids, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh, two adults who know how to act in a scene together.
Right, right.
What a concept.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
God, I mean, even just the opening where she says, "Do you know why I put you in charge?" And he puts on this like stupid little smug thing. He's like, "Oh, well, because of my proven expertise in," and then she cuts him off because it's impossible to fuck up or whatever. And you did it anyway. It's so good. I just love him.
Yeah, he's
They're
great.
both so good.
Now this is interesting because the implication of this for the TV show universe at this
Hmm.
point,
Hmm.
I don't know if the Council of 13 has been named in the books. Maybe it has
I am
once or
pretty
twice,
sure it has at this point, like
but not.
once.
It's never explored really until Visser, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when she says she assigned him, because I don't
Hmm.
think that's really how it works in the books. They're both still working for the council, even though she outranks him.
Right. Yeah, I feel like in the show they have used the word "the council" before,
Hmm.
but I don't think they have any clear idea of what it means, which to be fair, I don't think Kay Applegate did either. So, yes, here she is assigning him, and she also seems to have the power to have him executed if he fails, whereas in the books, we eventually learn she would have had to like petition the council for that because he's a fellow Visser or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It really reads like they were like, oh, Visser won. She's the boss of all the Yeerks. Like
Hmm.
they're just going with that,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
which
mean, to
maybe is better.
Yeah. I I it's not. I like the Council of 13. I like
Yeah,
it,
yeah, I
but
do
like
too.
it doesn't need to be there and it's totally fine to just be like, fuck it, Visser one's the leader.
If you're
Like
not
they're
gonna
not going to
do
put the
the
council in the
Visser
show.
book, yeah,
Yeah.
then it's just cleaner to do it this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you have to do Visser 1 and you really probably should not bother with the Council of 13 unless you get like 10 seasons.
Right, right.
So,
And they didn't know that they didn't understand because the books weren't out yet.
right, of
This is
course.
I was also again, I'm still confused about what's happening at this point
Mhm.
because Visser 3 at some point says something about, oh, that controller or that Yerk needs to be re-energized.
They keep saying that. I don't understand, and they've done this before in this show. They always say the Kandrona energize. They never say they feed on it. And I don't understand why like do people not think slugs eat? Do they think are they like kids will understand them better if they think they're robots? I
Right.
really don't get it.
It's just like an alien thing they think sounds more science fiction-y.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah,
I don't
so I
yeah.
was really not. I don't even remember if they've said. Did they say Kandrona yet at this point? I
They
don't even.
say in this scene they say the Kandrona
They
was
do say it
destroyed.
in this scene.
Yeah.
Okay, but so I don't know. I still didn't quite put two and two together, and I was like, I don't really understand. It seems like the Yeerks are sick. It seems like a lot of them are
Yeah.
dying. What does that mean to be energized? Like, is that a
Yeah.
cure? I didn't know what the fuck they were talking
Yeah, it's
about.
very weird. It feels like the show maybe just doesn't get that the Yeerks feed on it, so they're like, Why do they need it?" I don't know, they need it. What happens if they don't have it? Maybe they get sick or something? It, energizes them. That doesn't mean anything, so it's safe to say.
Right.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
it's very strange, and it is confusing, especially with them all being sick rather than starving. It feels like the Kandrona somehow works differently in the show than in the books.
Yeah, we really needed a. I mean, the show has a problem with not explaining things to people. Visser 3 gets mad and he crushes something in his hand.
Yes.
What the
What is your
fuck
I
is
have a
this?
guess as to what it is. I wonder if you have a guess.
I mean, my best guess is it's a cup for drinking out of.
Mhm.
A
Okay.
sci-fi cup.
Luxury thermos for high-ranking Yeerks. You know how they
Okay,
always carry the Yeerks around
mm.
in thermoses?
Let's just
So
for
that's my guess.
listeners, the appearance of this thing is like a gray tin can, like an aluminum
Yeah.
can shaped thing
He
with a hole in it.
he crushes it as though it's an aluminum can.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably an aluminum can
Probably
spray
is.
painted silver.
Yes.
And then there's this sort of brass or copper pattern of metal around the middle of it. It just looks like it's a very much a Star Trek thing of, well, they can't
Mhm.
just have a cup because it's the
Right.
future. So you got to like put some
Yeah.
shit on it. A
He's
future
so
cup.
angry he crushes a can, but, like, why would he have a Coke can? All he is a human controller on Earth. There's no way he'd have one of those. He's gotta have a
Yeah.
Yeerk can.
A special Yeerk can for all the Yeerk juice they drink. Here's a new theory.
Yeah. Yeah,
Some
okay.
sort of a fleshlight, perhaps.
Mm. Maybe it's the newest Dracon beam.
Oh, that could be it.
If Dracons are flashlights,
Mhm.
then what are fleshlights? Are they Drecons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Drecons? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you agree with me that Victor Trent is beautiful when he's angry? Because I have a note to that
yes.
effect here.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Uh,
It's great. I love the Visser rivalry.
yeah.
It's a great scene. That I unfortunately, I mean, I don't know if you want me to say anything that I know about future episodes.
Oh no. Oh no. I don't like what you're implying here.
Well, maybe I already said too much.
Well, at least I know, and I better know. If I'm wrong about this, I'm gonna kill myself.
I don't
At
know.
least I
Yeah.
know that what you don't mean is that
Mm.
there's no more Victor Trent. He will be in the show. Eugene Lipinski's coming back, regardless of
Uh,
anything else.
yeah.
That I know.
Yeah, he comes
There's no
back
way.
in the next episode as the voice of the Helmacrons.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I looking
Yeah.
at the IMDb, this is the actually it wasn't the IMDb. Actually, Seropedia ruined this for me
Mm.
because they say it right in the usually they don't say shit on Seropedia about these episodes besides a basic description.
Mhm.
This one told me this is the last appearance of Visser 1.
That sucks so much. Like immediately when you learn about Animorphs, like the first thing you think is that like one of the most interesting things going on in it is Jake and Tom for sure, which doesn't, get a lot in the books. And then you learn a little bit more and you're like, oh, Marco and his mom's like the same thing, but even more so. It does kind of suck that they have an episode to introduce it and then, you know,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she's Marco doesn't even see her in this episode. There's no it feels like
yeah.
a I mean, she doesn't even appear in person.
Marco's their strongest character. This is one of the like
Yeah,
most
right. But they've
and there's so much you can do with Marco and his mom too. You don't have to follow the books which, are not doing mom stories that frequently, especially at this point. You can do so much.
yeah.
It's a
I mean,
what a shame.
it is disappointing to be fair. Again, there are like 7 episodes left and like 2 of them
Mhm.
are multiple part episodes. So,
Yeah.
it's not that crazy that she doesn't show up again. Just cuz there's not that much show left, but it is a shame. It is a shame.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well, that's disappointing. At least
yeah,
I
I'm
get my
sorry.
boy Visser 3. Uh
Mhm.
little barn scene here immediately opens up with a shut the fuck up Tobias. I'm so sick of that goddamn hawk screech.
I like it. Every time I hear him I feel happy. They do a lot of this is a thing that happens a
Yeah.
lot on this show that I don't like where
Mhm.
when someone tells a joke they cut to each character separately in
Yeah.
order doing a little laugh with no music and no it's just a
Yeah.
silent laugh. It's so awkward.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
did not
bad.
like it because it was awkward. I thought you might like this one because it's Rachel laughing at Marco's joke, and she does look a little bit
Hmm.
flirty,
Well, yeah,
but
okay.
it didn't save it for me. But I do know what you're talking about
Yeah,
here.
why do they fucking Sprogus, man? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I hate this
It's
dude.
like, how do they not realize how awkward it is? It's so uncomfortable to just have silence and characters smiling. It's
It's
not
just
good.
how they did it back then in the 90s. There's a
Yeah.
number of bits around here where Axe feels weirdly like silent, like they're talking about stuff and they do these like shots of Axe looking kind of grave but not reacting as and I couldn't help but wonder like are they aware that they're taking this from book 8 and in book 8 Axe was withholding information from them. So I
Hmm.
feel like I have to do that here even though it's not part of the plot and it's not like we already did that character arc for him. I wasn't sure like, I was wondering it wasn't, like, bad or anything, it wasn't you probably wouldn't even notice it if you didn't remember it was in the book, but it did feel like they felt like they were supposed to or something.
There's no way the director was thinking about that. I
Hmm,
don't think. Like
I don't
maybe
know.
the writer. I'm guessing the director did not read any of these books because he doesn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, how much of that do you think that that's, like, in the teleplay that, like, Axe looks grave, or do you think the director was like, "Better get a reaction shot of Axe," and then because he's also editing it, he's like, "Gotta put that reaction shot of Axe in there."
I think
Yeah.
it's all on our boy Christopher Paolo or Paolo Christopher. What's his name? Is that no? There's
Yeah,
Christopher Ralph.
Paolo something.
Paolo Costanzo.
Costanzo.
I think he goes the extra mile because he
Mhm.
fucking. I still think he might be my favorite portrayal of a character on the show. Well, besides Visser 3, favorite Animorph.
More than
Um.
Marco?
Oh
I
yeah, I
do
guess. I guess Marco's good.
I do think he is good as Axe.
Yeah. Well, I think Marco is great, but also I think
Mhm.
Marco's a lot. Axe requires more. You're like doing a character as opposed to
Mhm.
just being a guy who's funny.
Yeah, sure,
um.
sure.
But I would be maybe he knew the character better than the director, and he was
Mm,
trying to bring some of that energy,
I
and
see.
they just accidentally captured it.
That could be, because like, yeah, it in this when they did something sort of like the storyline in the books, it was very appropriate for him to do that, uh, because of how the show flows, I don't think it's an appropriate response, but it could be that he like read the book in preparation and tried to capture it.
Yeah, there's no. He's like this. The
It's not.
director's not fucking giving me anything. I got to do
Yeah,
my own research.
he doesn't fucking know what they're doing with the show, so he's just like, fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I can give him that.
yeah. Man, maybe we'll find out when we read that book. I want to know.
Mm.
Did these actors like were they familiar with the books at all? Because they were. They were definitely outside the age range of the demographic of the books.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
wonder.
I mean,
We'll
if you're
find
gonna
out.
be on the show, I feel like you might want to read. Brooke Nevin probably did not read any of them. All right.
We'll see. We'll see. That's an episode I'm excited for. So,
They do mention the EGS tower in this scene, don't they?
I think you're right.
I don't know. I wrote
Not
down
sure.
the EGS tower was 2 question marks, so maybe I just wrote
Maybe
that
you were
down.
like, "Is that what it was?" I
Yeah.
didn't remember what it was apparently, so
Maybe that's what it was. And then Marco says the X-Files thing. He says the truth is out there.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He does say that.
Because now they're excited that, oh, like if all these Yeerks get sick, then
Right.
eventually this will all spread and everything.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that scene and that's kind of what I mean with Axe cuz that scene is in the books and Axe doesn't say anything to them
mm,
because
right,
yeah, he knows they're gonna hunt him down and kill him or something. I don't know.
right.
Yeah, I don't
Which
know. And
doesn't.
here he would say, I guess, but he doesn't.
Here, I
But I
feel
don't
like
know.
we don't really. They don't really explain why that doesn't happen, do they?
Yeah. Well, that I mean, waiting. Why Axe doesn't say that or
No,
why?
no. Why everyone doesn't? Why there's not a million controllers going crazy and talking about Yerks everywhere? Like, how do
I,
they?
Eventually, Axe does say, like, they'll never stop hunting him, and I think Visser 3 at
Oh,
some point
yeah.
says, like, I've made sure to feed the high-level Yeerks so they can neutralize the low levels who don't get like, they
Right.
don't directly say it, but I think it is there.
It's not as clear as in the book where they're literally like, "They're getting murked, bruh."
Yeah. Yeah. Like, they literally see like, they when they find out because they see some guys walk up to a lady and press something, and then she falls over and dies, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then, "Wait, Axe, what if did you know about this, Axe?" Kinda thing.
It is reading the description of this book to refresh my memory, I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, yeah, wow. Those books were different."
Yeah, they sure were.
They would never just straight up mention death, like that on this show.
Yeah. No, they would not.
So
Uh,
interesting how you can get away with that in a book and not on Nickelodeon. It's
yeah, I
very
mean, it
weird.
it is. It's unfortunate that it's kinda hard to have that conversation here because I really do feel like Kay Applegate just didn't have oversight, but in books where you do have oversight, you can still get away with that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
well,
I don't know.
I mean, we've probably talked about this before, but there's just such
Mhm.
a I just think there's a baseline belief that books are good and educational, which there should be. Like that's I'm glad that there is that in our society, but
Mhm.
there's a thing of like, yeah, a parent would rather their kid read the most violent book in the
Yeah.
world than watch like a PG-13 movie. Because they're like, well, at least they're reading. But it's like that they could be reading Mein Kampf. Like you don't fucking know what's in there. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm thinking back to when I was a kid, I definitely had far like, there were restrictions on what I was allowed to watch, and there was basically no restriction on what I wanted to read as a kid.
Right. You're 'cause well, also your parents there's no ratings on books.
Right, yeah,
Your mom's not, like, gonna be like, "Let me read it first and give it back to you because they don't give a
yeah.
shit. They're not gonna read your fucking stupid book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
that's also true, yeah. It's a commitment to do that.
it's a secret world for children to be indoctrinated.
Correct. Um, Art Deco doors again, because 'cause we're back to Victor Trent and Chapman.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, like, so from
Yeah.
this point forward in the episode,
Mhm.
I think I was just excited about the momentum of this.
Hmm.
The fact that we are doing a thing that has potentially far-reaching consequences. We're doing stuff with Tom, who they're discussing now, and we're about to
Mhm.
see. I and I know we're getting towards the end of the season, and
Mhm.
I just thought this is exciting. That it feels like plot is moving forward. It's not just another like, we're doing a book or I don't know, something's happening. Rachel's an alligator this week, whatever. It's like, oh, this feels like stuff of consequence is either happening or threatening to be happening, even if it's, still a TV show, so it'll get resolved by the end somehow. But I was caught up in the progression from this point forward, and even though some elements I still thought were confusing and not explained clearly, I was having a good time.
Yeah, I feel like, from this point forward, I kept thinking, "Oh, this is interesting," and then we just kind of moved past it and didn't do the things that I found interesting about it. I can see where you're coming from, but yeah, it just wasn't quite holding me because I was just like, "Oh, man, I'm starting to get into oh, never mind, I guess we're doing something else." It did have momentum in that sense, and that it kept moving, but it's mostly gonna be the same,
Yeah,
stuff here.
yeah,
Um, but yes, we have Visser 3 and Chapman. They're talking about Tom is sick. Perkins is gonna take Tom to the recandronaing site or whatever. I was
re-energized.
thinking, I was thinking when Visser 3 comes through his doors, uh, we need another we read the books entire so that you can say Visser 3's art or Victor Trent's Art Deco doors or something like that, you know? That's what I need.
I think that's the someone will have to just edit that clip into the song. There you go.
There you go.
You want one just for the it's all only TV show specific
Yeah,
things.
yeah. No one who watched the TV or no one who read the books will have any fucking idea what that could possibly mean.
um, I mean, kind of nice to see Visser 3 and Chapman in a scene together, I thought, because we hadn't Chapman kind of fell out for a while. Honestly, in
Mhm.
general, like, that's one of our I think both of our, at least my complaints about the books is they kind of just forget that they're kids in school after a while, and
Yes.
we lose the thread of Chapman completely.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're still pretty early in the show comparatively, but I was happy to have an episode where the school is important and Chapman is important. I thought that was also something I appreciated.
Yeah, I mean that is fair. There. Well, we'll see as we go through it. We'll talk about which parts we like and don't. But I do also like seeing Chapman. I think that and it shows up a little bit more in a later scene than in this particular one. But I think Chapman in this show, maybe it's the actor, maybe it's the writing, works really well as like a Yerk sad sack, where like in every scene he's in, he's getting berated by a superior.
Yeah.
Like I just, you know, be it Jake last episode or Visser 3 or Tom being all like in his 226 drop the ball this time, Visser 3. Oh, you're gonna be pissed. You know, he's good.
Yeah, he really does give that vibe
Yeah. Yeah.
effectively.
It's good.
Um, okay, so Tom, we find out, is one of these controllers who his
Mhm.
Yeerk is dying or whatever.
Yeah, he's sick in bed.
Again, they keep calling it sick. So I think I'm still at this point like there's some kind
Yeah.
of Yeerk disease going around. Like
Yeah.
I don't really get, or at least I'm not 100% sure that this is a Kandrona starvation thing.
Yeah, it's just so because in the show they don't starve, I guess. Yeah, they're actively calling it a flu. That's the cover story. Yeah, it is just it's so strange. Like there if you didn't read the books, I don't know that you would have any idea that it was supposed to be starvation.
It's
You'd just be like they get sick without it or something. It's their immune system. I
yeah.
don't know.
And none of this is like these are this is a complaint in my opinion that doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
Like I just thought it was an illness because it's presented that way and it still works just as well.
Mhm.
It's not like it's not like it didn't make sense. I just think they thought one thing and it's really another. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm just trying to say like I to me that like didn't make the
Mhm.
episode bad. I just was confused about it.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind it, but it
It's
does, listen,
strange.
it feels not thought out, not necessarily in a bad way, but there are other things in the episode that I do think are bad for not being thought out. So I don't know, I'll not
It
complain.
it feels like the writers or somebody like disagreed or didn't understand what it was supposed to be, or the editor had a different idea than the writer did versus the person who first pitched the story, and it got, I don't know, maybe there's a new draft and they changed scenes because something happened and they just didn't have time to go back and make it have continuity. So it just
Hmm.
feels strange.
Yeah.
um we get a lot of Jake's mom in this episode.
Yes, Nikki, I suppose, and she is
and
credited as Nikki, so that is who Nikki is.
And I'll break your heart once more because Seropedia also told me this is her last appearance.
That is sad, not because I care about this character seeing her on screen, but it implies we might not get very much of Jake's family home life, which is something that,
I
you know,
wonder.
is one of the better parts of the show.
Yeah. Well, again, that's another thing that I think the show is actually doing better than the books,
Hmm.
is featuring Tom and Jake's home life so much.
Hmm.
I I like there's so much more you can do with Tom in the books, and I think it makes sense. Like, you cast an actor in a show, you want to use the actor. So you're more likely to have him show up than in a book where it's just like, I don't know, I didn't feel like writing about that guy.
Yeah.
But I like him being involved. It's another chance. Like, this is a cool story that we've done, which is not from the books, where now it's about Jake,
Yeah.
another opportunity for Jake to save his brother.
Yeah. We are now totally off of any book plot, right?
Yeah.
Tom is sick and dying of Kandrona starvation, and Jake might actually have an opportunity to get him out. Um, again, this is a plot that I immediately was like, I like the idea of this. I want to see where this goes. I want to see something interesting happen here, and I want to see them like reckon with the consequences of this. And we'll talk about how well they do that.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
thought it
I
was
do
good.
agree with
We'll
you.
see.
It's good that there's more Tom. I like seeing more Tom.
It is a little bit, and a lot of this is still like versus the books characterization stuff, but he has a kind of a little argument with Marco about, oh, I want to save him. Marco's like, no, you can't. It's like, but what about your mom and
Yeah.
all this, which kind of feels like in the books that would be reversed. Like,
Yeah, and I also just had a problem with it here because um like I don't really understand why. Right. Right. Like Jake's like, okay, we're gonna get him out and maybe bring him to the barn and starve out the Yerk. And Marco's like, whoa, you can't do that. Why not? Why can't they do that? Like I don't understand. And then Jake's like, well, Marco, you're just jealous because we didn't free your mom. And Marco's like, no, 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 this is different. And I'm like, I don't understand. That feels like it should just be something Jake said in the heat of the moment, but I don't understand why Marco thinks they can't do this. And so it almost feels like that is the reason. Like it's weird to me. I don't get why. I mean, Marco. Okay, this is a classic. They can't morph in the show, but like Marco does. In fact, one of his complaints as to why they can't do this is, how are we going to get him past your mom? Are you serious? What do you mean? Morph into a tiger, break into the house, and then the cover story for the Yeerks is, oh, a high ranking Yeerk was starving, and the Andalites decided to take the opportunity to bust him out and get intel. And the cover story for the parents is, I don't know what the fuck happened. Animals came in. Like, just do that. It would be easy.
I
Why
can
can't you
come
do
up with
this?
excuses. I still think that there's always a chance of, oh, then while they're there, they're just going to start. They'll just be like, well, better Yerk the rest of the family too, or something.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I mean,
Sure.
that's not presented on the show, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, here and into the next barn scene where they start talking about it, that was one of the things I started getting a little upset about, is because I was like, the idea of rescuing Tom has a lot of difficult and interesting implications, and it feels like the writers don't understand any of them and aren't even going to consider them. Maybe literally didn't think of them because they're too stupid.
Maybe, maybe.
I don't want to move past this scene with Marco and Jake yet because I need your
Yeah.
opinions on this
Yep. Yep.
poster.
Yep. Oh, the poster.
Oh, was there something else?
I thought I wanted to talk about when Marco grabs Jake's arm forcefully, and the camera does a close
Mhm.
up of that grab on his arm, and it feels very,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't even notice that part.
Oh, yeah. I know. I noticed it.
I did notice there are a couple of shots in here where like Marco's reaching into his locker. You get a nice shot of his muscular forearms, and I kind of liked it, but this particular one I didn't notice.
So this poster is looks like a robot, a black and white robot woman. It says Pluto at the top.
Mhm.
What
She's
does it
like
say?
kind of naked-ish.
It's got to be a singer.
It's got to
Yeah.
be.
At the
What is it?
bottom, at the bottom it says featuring something. Featuring somebody and somebody. It's like some weird Canadian band or something.
I guess. Yeah, no, I saw that poster and was like, "What the fuck is that?" It looks weird.
It looks like the poster for Metropolis or something.
Mm,
It's a weird paste. Oh, featuring paste and somebody else. It says
paste.
that's what it said.
Like
It must be a
like
band.
like glue
Yeah, but it
or
must be
like
a. Oh, yeah, I found it. I found it
okay.
by googling it.
Okay.
You might hear no. I just might play on my phone. Oh, that's an ad.
This is good podcasting right here. We're doing
Pluto
good this episode.
is Pluto the name of the band, and they have Oh, yes, yeah. Pluto is the name of the band, and it's their first album. Their album, it's self-titled,
Mm.
and it's featuring one of the songs is called Paste.
Mm.
They're a Canadian band. They're an alternative rock band nominated for a 1997 Juno Award.
Do you think their music sounds like gay cowboy porn? Might we hear it in the show someday?
Maybe we already have.
Maybe
By
we
the
have.
way, years active, 1993 to 1999. So
The show is the death knell of Pluto.
everybody go listen to Pluto. They sound sick, to be honest. It's a cool poster. I think it's I'm gonna try to order all the posters from their rooms in the show. And that's gonna be my new decorating in my room. I'm just gonna have a model of Jake's room.
Uh,
Outside my window will be a little like a fake stuffed
yeah,
hawk.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna it'll be like a theme park. I'll be like one of those crazy people who like has a million Ninja Turtles dolls or something. But I'll be like, yeah, my entire home is a recreation of the Animorphs
Maybe I'll
home.
come to visit you. Actually, if you
That
do
would be a
that, here,
cool. I could rent it out as an Airbnb. Like, stay in Jake's room.
yeah, that'd be neat. And if you really did it and you went all in and you got like known for it, then everyone would have to mention it if they were an Animorphs fan. Like, you wouldn't be able to do an Animorphs podcast without talking about
Hmm.
John's
Hmm.
Animorphs hut. I don't know what you'd call it.
Maybe this episode is bad because all I keep wanting to just talk about other shit. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
actually.
know.
I will say this. I
Yeah.
don't actually have that much to say about the second half of this episode. I feel like it's
Yeah.
just because I was, but not because I like didn't think it was good. It was just like the plot is moving. I'm kind of invested. I'm paying attention. I'm enjoying it, and I just didn't. There wasn't that much to nitpick. I didn't think there was that much to like particularly praise in an
Hmm.
interesting way. I didn't have as much to say about it. I just sort of
Hmm.
was consuming it like a good little non-thinking consumer boy. So even though it seemed we have a lot of episode left, I don't know. I feel like my contributions lower towards the end.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to. I mean, we're pretty far in. I don't have to bring up any of the like
Oh
little
boy.
things, but
Oh
yeah, there's
god.
there's some stuff I will comment about. Um yeah, okay. So Tom leaves to go to quote unquote a sharing meeting. And he's actually meeting Perkins, who is pretending Chapman has assigned Perkins to take Tom to the Kandrona spot, but secretly we find out in this scene. This is where we find out no, Perkins is definitely freed. Um because he takes Tom to some like cabin in the woods and he
Well, we
ties
don't.
him up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you skip the part where
Yeah.
he's taken off in a. I mean, you didn't really skip it, but
Yeah.
he gets taken in a car,
Yeah.
and then Jake and Marco like chase after him.
Yes, Jake and Marco chase after the car.
Now this is this was the part of the episode I thought was stupid.
Okay, okay.
When because I don't think I even understood. Because yeah, I didn't know.
Mhm.
I still thought it was Yeerks
Yeah, we don't
taking
it's
Tom.
not clear to the viewer that Perkins is yeah. I mean, I think
And
it is Yeerks. I think the guy who picks him up is a Yeerk and he's dropping him
yes.
off with Perkins and doesn't know.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so
Mhm.
then Jake is like, I'm gonna chase after him with Marco. Like, I'm not letting my brother go again. And
Mhm.
he shouts out like, I know about the Yerks or
Yeah.
something. And then the car does a stop, and you're like, oh my god, they heard him. Like, what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then
Cut
cut
to
to
commercial
commercial.
break. Yeah. Fade back in. It just keeps going.
Like it
It's
just
fine.
keeps driving. Like, wait, so why did it stop? Wait, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Why did it stop? There's nothing happened. So they didn't hear him?
Yeah. I also don't know why he's shouting that. It feels
Well,
like there's a lot of stuff here around like what are the ethics of freeing Tom or freeing any controller, but it doesn't feel like they know what the stakes of that are. Like
but
it
here,
doesn't feel thought out enough. So like because like
yeah.
then we get Jake being like, "No, Tom, I know everything." Which why is he saying that? And Marco being like, "No, Jake, you can't go after him." Which why can't he? I don't, you know what I
Here's the
mean? Like I don't
problem.
really get it.
You
Yeah.
are too right-brained, and I'm more
Mm.
left-brained.
Right, that's the science.
By the way, I don't remember which side is which either,
I
so I hope
think you
that's
got
right.
it
Great.
quote unquote right.
Like
if you
you're
assume that's a thing.
You're correct from a standpoint of, yeah, if you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of things don't make sense. But I think emotionally, for me at least, this episode and these scenes work pretty well. And like, I understand Jake shouting that stuff out because to Jake, he's like, he's just having a
Mhm.
temporary lapse of sanity, basically. He's
Mhm.
desperate to save his brother. He sees this window of opportunity that's rapidly closing. And he's like, I just need to shout out. I just want my brother to know that he's not alone, that I know about him. And I'm like losing my mind. And even though this is irrational, it's just something that he does in the moment. So
Yeah, I wonder if
I felt that. I don't know. I thought that
I
worked.
don't disagree with you. Like I'm not going to say it doesn't, he would never do that because it doesn't make sense. Like you're right, he might do that. I legitimately don't understand Marco here. But I do feel like
Mm.
maybe it's not, it's just me saying like it's less that I don't resonate with Jake doing that and more that I don't resonate with, it feels like the episode's trying to put some idea of like you know there's an ethical gray area, right? Saving people is dangerous, but also maybe it's the right thing to do. And I just don't feel that conflict because I don't think they've adequately explained like why in what ways is it dangerous? I I could think of some, but I don't know that the episode can think of some. And so the whole conflict doesn't work. And so Jake's individual expression of that larger conflict doesn't work. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
and that's
think
getting in the way of me seeing Jake.
I think that larger conflict is so is so if it's there, it's barely there, and I feel like it's a
Yeah,
lot of like, I mean, as you
I
said,
want it to be there.
you want it to be there.
I want there to
I
be just
Right.
just say right off the bat, I mean, not literally, but say right off the bat at the beginning of the episode, all we're doing with this episode is stumbling around and doing stuff. Hang on for the ride, and I'll be like, okay, cool. If you say, okay, let's introduce some stuff, I'm thinking about it.
I didn't feel that that stuff was really introduced, so I wasn't thinking about it. So I wasn't disappointed that it wasn't there because I was
Mm,
like, yeah,
Just
it's just about this
just felt like they were
Jake
teeing
and Tom
something
thing.
up, but
I think
well,
you got in your
whatever.
own head. You invented this thing that the episode's
Because it
not
would have been
doing,
better.
and now you're mad they didn't do the
Because
thing
there's
that
like
it's not is.
I'm not mad that they didn't do a thing. I didn't invent a thing. I invented like a massive branching tree of a million interesting things that they didn't do any of and instead did nothing. Whatever. Uh,
They did some pretty good stuff. Anyway, so then we get to the forest, okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is where we find out that
Oh,
Perkins is free. Oh,
just to be clear for listeners too, because this is important. How they get to the forest is, of course,
hmm
Jake morphs into Homer so he can
yeah,
chase the
yeah.
car, which drives at 50 miles per hour. But of course, a golden retriever, as we all know, is the best way to follow a moving, speeding car.
I'm gonna listen. I'm
Go
not gonna
ahead.
say that you can't outrun a golden retriever. You probably
Uh
can.
huh.
Uh, but I am gonna push back
Uh huh.
on this constant need you have
I
to
will
say
keep
that
doing
dogs
it.
don't run.
No, I
Like, I
listen.
don't
I never
understand
said
every
that.
time that
I
that
never
they're
said
like,
that.
"Oh, they need to follow something, so they need an animal that can
No,
track and can run."
no,
What could
no, no,
that
no.
possibly be? A
No,
dog?
no,
Dogs don't
no,
run. Dogs are
no. This
terrible at
is not
running.
what I
How could they
say.
track? This is
This is
every
not what I
time you're
say.
like, "Why would you turn into a
No.
dog? If you wanted to chase a car, you wouldn't turn into a dog. Dogs don't chase cars.
Yes,
That's not a
correct.
thing." Like, what
No,
the hell?
no.
Why is this a thing for you?
It is always a car. It's not they're chasing a person or tracking something.
Okay,
It's running
sure.
after a car.
Okay.
The
What are they
dogs
supposed to turn into?
listen, a fucking bird fucking fly after it.
Okay,
That's 10 times fucking better. A bird. And oh, don't give me your shit. Well, birds of prey can't fly very far because guess what? They did it all the fucking time in the books and it was fine. Nobody cares about the science. You can
so you don't
fly
want to
in the
see
air.
Homer. So you don't want to see
No.
Homer then.
And your
This
dogs
is your
chase
only
cars.
excuse to have Homer.
Listen to me. Dogs chase cars. Do dogs catch cars? Okay, answer me
It
that.
They don't
No.
have to catch it. They just have to
Yes,
show up
they
at the
do.
place later. If they have a good sense of smell and can distance run, they will
What's
get
he
there.
smelling? What's he smelling? The gasoline? He's not getting
Sure, he
confused
can
by
smell the fucking car.
how many
Why can't he
other
smell
cars?
the car?
How many other cars with the
You
same
think the dog
gasoline?
can't track the car?
No, he can't.
I think
not
he can.
Not one
I think he
individual
can.
car that's driving at a speed a car goes and
You
could
don't even
outrun
know
that
how
dog
fast
in
this thing.
5
It might
minutes.
be going 30 the whole way. Probably is going 30. They're probably on fucking backwoods town roads up in Canada.
Get Adam Savage on this shit. You put 100 dogs versus 100 cars driving to another end of town. The dog's not going to chase that fucking car and find it. Guarantee. Guarantee. It's bullshit. It's crazy.
I think that if you wanted to pick an animal to chase a car in your TV show, a dog is a perfectly fine animal to pick.
You have birds. You have fucking birds.
Yeah, and nothing else. A dog is a perfectly fine animal. Marco turns into a wolf. You think a wolf couldn't do it?
We
Dogs
better than a
chase
regular
cars,
dog.
man.
They don't catch them. They don't catch them. The car goes so fast. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Is Homer a golden retriever?
Sure.
Okay.
The
Golden
car
retriever.
I think 30 is actually a potentially reasonable speed, given that they are in fucking Canada.
Average speed for
Sure.
a golden retriever,
Mhm.
according to AI,
Right.
is around 25 miles per hour.
Okay. So it could absolutely track down and catch up to a car.
Never
a car
once.
drove
This car does not
50
go on the highway. This car's not going on the highway.
I mean, it might not. I don't fucking know. You don't know how roads are up fucking there. You're in New Jersey where every road's a highway. They're in backwoods
Also,
ass Canada.
even non-highways, a lot of roads are still 35, 40 miles per hour.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that if they drove for 15 minutes, Jake would show up there in less than half an hour.
How does he know? Once you
'Cause
lose
he
the
can
car, you're
smell
done.
it.
No, you can't smell. You don't know. Oh,
He
that's
can.
the exhaust
He
pipe of
can.
that car. That's the
He
one
can.
car and not the 800
You don't
other
know
cars.
what he can smell. You have
Yes,
no
I do.
idea what he can smell.
I fucking know.
You
And
don't
never
know.
once. This is all bullshit because they
He can
never
tell. Didn't you read the books? He can tell what you ate for breakfast yesterday.
Never once do they go, "Oh, I'm tracking the car. I'm smelling the car." It's always he just runs after
That's because
it.
they cut. What do you want them to say? This is a stupid complaint. A dog, you want an animal to chase a car in your TV show, put a dog there, it's fine. I get it. The dog chased the car. It's fine.
It doesn't make sense. Look, I get that Brian Renfro needs to feed his fucking kids. But other than that, there's no reason for it.
I
Dogs
like
can't chase
Homer.
cars. Listeners, let us know.
I want more Homer.
Email us. Do you believe that if you had to
I
chase a
think
car,
you're just used to like little shitty
No,
does with
listen.
stubby legs, and you're like, oh, dogs probably
Listen to
can't
me.
run. They don't
I'm-
run. A dog
I'm-
would never run.
a dog can't run as fast as a car. I am asking our listeners. I've just proved that scientifically. I looked it up. Asking our listeners if you had access to all animal morphs and you needed to chase a car, what would your choice be? I want to know. Would it be dog? Would your first instinct be dog?
Remember that this is a fucking TV show, though.
No.
Like
no,
they
don't
never
remember
fucking
it.
morph.
Don't remember
it's
that.
just there so you can see the fun dog. It's a fine thing to put there. Is it the literal optimal choice? No, but it's totally fine.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a win. You're on my
Whatever,
side.
sure.
You agree with me?
Sure, whatever you
basically
want.
just admitted defeat.
I don't think I did.
Oh, you did, buddy. You did, and the listeners know it.
Sure.
They'll write in.
Sure.
They'll write in, and you know what?
Dude,
Depending on what
Yeah.
they say, I don't have to read their emails. You don't know.
Oh, that's true. That's right. So if I'll just assume that there's probably, reams and reams of emails
You can
saying
assume
I'm
that.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my assumption.
Yeah.
Every single person. People who didn't even listen to this are writing in to tell me I'm right, and you're just not going to
I'm not reading
you're a
those
sore
ones.
loser is what you are.
I would never read those. I've never been a sore loser because I've never lost.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, we can pretty much move on, right? This episode's done.
All right. This is where we find out Perkins is free. Right. We've been talking. Listen, we did front load a lot of the things that I want to say. So we find out Perkins is free. He's got Tom tied up in the shack, and Jake's like, "Oh, cool! Like that's awesome. Tom's gonna get free." Right? They go back to the barn. Right?
Yeah. Well, now, I'll tell you what I thought at this point.
Yeah.
We're talking about, again, the theme of this episode is, besides us being unlistenable pieces of shit, is me
Uh-huh.
not knowing what's going on.
Mhm.
And now we're talking about Pardue. At this point, I was thinking Mr. Tidwell.
Mhm. Mhm.
I thought this was the Yeerk resistance. I
Yeah, and you know
That's
what?
what I thought.
I that would make more sense because, from the way it is presented here, you do run into, and this is a nitpicky problem, but there is the issue of like he's supposed to send Tom up. They know it's him who's supposed to send Tom up. Tom isn't going to show up, so they know that he betrayed them. Right. Like,
Mhm.
he can't just walk in the next day and pretend he's a controller.
Mhm.
Whereas, if he's got a Yerk, maybe he's got a little more leeway to pretend because he literally does have a Yerk. You know what I mean? I At this point I was kind of getting excited for, and I didn't think that they were going to do like a plot into later episodes. Obviously, I don't think they're going to do anything like that. But I was getting excited for this idea of like, oh, there's there is at least one free human controller, or a free human. This is when we can approach him and be like, "Hi, we're Andalites. We want to help you free Tom. We want to help you. We're going to work with Mr. Perkins now." And that is sort of where it goes, but it doesn't, we'll get there. But I was like, okay, that's kind of exciting, and then
Mhm.
they're going to try
Yeah.
to get Tom as a free controller. Maybe they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's build a base of free controllers to fight back or whatever. And, or something. I don't know.
I
They
did
don't
think
approach him.
I did think
Yeah.
there was a chance that, and maybe this was me being naive,
Hmm.
but that Tom might actually get freed, that they would just
Mm.
totally do some crazy shit and depart from the books, and like Tom is now somewhere, or maybe at least for a few
Yeah.
episodes, and then maybe he goes back, or who knows. But
That is not out of the question. I didn't think that would happen here, but only because I thought that this plot was gonna conclude in this episode and then be done with, but
mm,
I wouldn't put it past a season 1 conclusion or a
mm,
late season 2 episode or something, and so they could have, like, had ended this episode with Tom still tied up, and I would have been like, "Oh, shit, they might do it."
yeah, yeah.
Um,
The fact that they're even discussing it honestly was just big to me, because they almost never do that in the books. It's
mhm.
never. I don't. Is there even one plot where they're like, "Let's try and free Tom"? It's always just a given that he's lost to them, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so they go back to the barn,
Yeah.
and this is kind of where that whole conversation happens, right? Um Because this is where they're talking about that. It is true. In the books, they just don't even consider it. They don't bring it up. But it doesn't feel like uh we were doing something and then we wasted it. It feels like we just never even tried to do it, right? It's missed rather than wasted. Now here, um they're talking about it, and it feels like this is where I really feel like it's not the implications here are not thought out, right? Nobody says, let's approach Perkins as Andalites to work with him. Nobody says, let's approach him at all. They're just like, oh, maybe we can uh, help with Tom or something. And they don't talk about doing anything. This is all, Perkins is doing this without them. They're not involved. They're not doing anything. There are a lot of things they could do. I don't know. I don't know. And Axe
Mm,
brings up this problem where he says, "Oh, but Tom will have to leave because they'll hunt him down." Um, and okay, that's an interesting wrinkle. How do we deal with that? What are we going to do about that to me doesn't feel like okay, so we can't do it. Uh, but then if this scene treats it as though that's a no go, right? Jake is like, "Oh, he can fake it. He can fake being a controller," and they're like, "Oh no, he can't fake it." And they're like, "Oh, so we're just supposed to give up?" And I'm like, "No, you're not supposed to give up. You're supposed to help him get away or something, or hide him or Why are you not even considering this? Why isn't this the plot? Like, why is this? We're just we're sitting around and talking as though there's this ethical dilemma because if we free him, they're going to try to hunt him down, but if we don't free him, we can't do anything. And it's like that's not the end of the story. Like that's not the implication. Like none of this I don't like it really feels like the writer said, "Wouldn't it be a cool plot if they could free Tom? What would that mean? I don't know, who cares? Wouldn't it be a cool plot?" Like I've said this before. This is why I front loaded all of that. But it's I don't know. This whole scene I was just really frustrated with every character for not even thinking about the situation they were in at all.
Look, I'm a simple man. I'm not as complicated as you.
Mhm.
I saw the scene and I just said, wow, all the Animorphs in a barn together having a heated discussion like about Yeerk problems, and Jake's brother and Axe is there and Tobias is there, the whole gang. This is like a scene from the book. This is great. I love this barn scene. This
Mm.
is fun. I was just enjoying it.
Interesting, because I was just like, if this were the book, they would actually discuss implications of what's going on here. For me, it felt like less like they were discussing an actual conundrum, and more like they were just trying to like very quickly set up, oh, it's difficult, so that Jake could give some speech about like, yes, it's impossible, but what we're doing here is impossible, and that's why we got to keep fighting. And it's like, okay, so the point was just so you could put a cheesy
I
line in
think
there.
this ties
It
right
was
back
bad.
in to the same thing I was saying before,
It's
that
bad.
y-
Mhm.
calm down. That yeah, you're very focused on the logistics of it, which is not, you're not necessarily wrong.
Mhm.
But I thought
Yeah.
emotionally and from a character perspective, everything was pretty much working. And I didn't really care that the plot didn't make that much sense, or that they weren't being logical in all their discussions, because I was just along for the emotional ride, and the stakes of Jake's brother and all that stuff was just working
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I guess the problem is that I don't know the stakes of Jake's brother. Like, what
No,
are
you
they?
know them. It's
No,
his
I don't.
brother. He wants his brother to be free. That's it.
Yeah, what does that mean if they free him?
Then he would have his brother back.
Well, but they seem to be implying that maybe he wouldn't in some way, and I don't know what that way is because they don't know what that
I
like
think they're
what
saying that the Yeerks would hunt him down or whatever. Isn't that what you're talking about?
sure. Yeah, they would. So what does that mean?
What do
Does
you mean?
that
What
mean
does
we
that
have to
mean?
hide him? Does that mean we have to get him out of
Yeah,
here?
maybe.
What are we
Yeah.
going to do
We don't
about
know.
that? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
That's a
Who cares?
discussion for later.
It's his brother.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
But like, sure, but like that's the point is that the show is using that to contradict it. Like they're saying, "Oh, they're going to hunt him down." So the question is that's his brother, but we can't. But you can. Like the stakes are that's not, you know what I mean? Like I guess what I'm saying is like for the emotions to like I don't necessarily need the plot to make perfect sense. I'm okay with emotional beats and all of that, but like at the end of the day, like your emotions are a reaction to like the reality around you. And if that reality doesn't make sense, if I don't know what that is, then your emotions don't resonate with me because they're not based on anything. Like you're not I don't know. He feels like that cuz it's his brother, I guess. What does
Yeah.
that like
Mhm.
I don't there's no depth to it. There's no it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, maybe this is just where I'm taking in baggage from the books, because I'm just like, I have just an inherent, that's Jake's brother Tom. Of course I care about them. I want them to succeed and be together and all that.
I
Uh,
almost feel like I care more about their relationship in the show. I mean, there are certain there listen, at the end of the series, there are some Jake and Tom moments I care about. At the beginning, there are some. In book 31, it's pretty good. But I feel like there are large stretches of the books where I just forget Tom exists,
yeah, I mean, that's fair.
for being
It's
honest.
it's more like, maybe this is just a low bar type of a thing, as
Mhm.
it often is in these cases. But I the fact and clearly that we're different in that, for you this isn't enough. But for me, I'm just excited that they're attempting something like this. I would rather them kind of fumble, but like go for an emotional
Mhm.
plot that progresses, even if it doesn't really do it. It's like at least it flirts with character progression and major shakeups and things happening in the world
Mm.
versus just like, fucking, we're doing whatever this week.
You know what? I'm almost wondering maybe you're giving the show more credit than I am
It's very
I
possible. I mean,
because
I am.
you're saying they're flirting with character progression, and I think I have just completely shut off my
You're like,
brain to
that'll
the
never happen.
concept. Right, like, yeah, like, what I'm looking for in this episode is for it on its own to be a satisfying whole because I just don't believe that in any way that anything that happens here will matter next episode, right? So I'm like, I can care about Jake and Tom in this episode, but I don't think it's going to progress Jake and Tom for next episode. That
But
one will
there
also have to stand on its own.
but there have been things have carried through from episode to episode. It's not like it's always a
Yeah,
reset. I mean,
I
this episode
guess
itself is technically, even though it's poorly explained, is the reason it's happening is because of an earlier episode.
that is true. That is true, I suppose.
And
Um
the ending clearly sets up the possibility of more stuff.
yes, yes, for sure. We will have to talk about that ending. Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. As much as I keep moaning about this episode, this is certainly not my least favorite. It's my least favorite of the new plot lines, but I
Mhm.
do think in general I like the new episodes on average more than the book faithful ones.
Hmm.
This is certainly not my least favorite, not by
Mhm.
a long shot.
I
Uh
think maybe it's kinda like it's like with the last episode with Tobias and Jake facing off in the hallway, where it's
mhm,
like it doesn't really, is it earned? Like, not really, but you know what? I'm vibing with it. It's just
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
going on vibes in this episode. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the problem is the great vibe episode is Tobias faces off Jake, and that is paying off all the stupid shit they did to get to it. Here, the wonderful scene we get is Visser 1 faces down Visser 3, and that's a payoff for the leader 3 episodes ago and doesn't you don't need the rest of the episode for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you really getting paid off by Perkins? You're seeing Perkins, you're like, damn, I love this Perkins guy. He's so cool and charismatic. I don't
He
care
re
about Perkins.
Yeah, I
Fuck
mean,
Perkins.
he's yeah, he's not, it's interesting. I think maybe a lot of that is casting, to be honest. I think that
Mhm.
if you had an actor who was really likable in this part, I don't think the actor's even bad,
Mhm.
but it's like if fucking, I don't know, if like, what can
He's
I
there.
say?
Yeah.
If an actor you liked, like, it seems too obvious for me to say, like, yeah, if Robert Downey Jr. was this guy, you'd like him. But I think that would go a long way to selling that role. But
Mhm.
he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we just skip to the end? I mean, does anything happen before the very end? Like, this is it.
I mean, there's this bit where Jake wants to ask him about wilderness survival. They treat it like a code word again. We've been over that.
Yeah.
Jake asks him where he likes to go camping, and he says Milton Park. Um,
Hmm.
I'm going to guess that Milton Park is the like shitty little suburban woods where they shoot all of their deep in the woods scenes, and that's why they're all like well maintained trails and crap, and it doesn't look like the woods.
Yeah, I
That's
think
my
that's
guess.
probably correct.
How do you feel about this hate poster on the
I,
wall at school?
I do like the hate poster. It's pretty good.
There's a lot of posters here actually in this hallway. I didn't really look at most of them. I was mostly just looking at the hate poster. Does that
Yeah,
say hate it's tonight?
no, it says hate it's taught,
Oh, it's taught. Okay, okay.
which I guess is teaching the kids not to raise their kids badly. I don't know who that's for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There is the sharing poster.
Mhm.
There is a good grades poster of some kind. And
Of
there's one that
course.
says, think it's cool to smoke cigarettes? Think again. And it has a kid smoking a cigarette who, I gotta say, he looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not good advertising. They made him look too cool.
Yeah, also that's like, oh, my school doesn't think I should smoke cigarettes? Then that's the most badass thing I can do. This poster makes me want to smoke bad.
There was, like, I think back in elementary school, there was, like, I don't know if it was Dare, I feel like it was something else, but there was some anti-smoking thing, and they had all these, like, whatever ads, and one of them was a poster that had a bunch of animals smoking cigarettes, and it said, "It looks just as stupid when you do it."
Oh, yeah, 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 I've seen
Yeah, yeah,
those.
yeah. And I got that poster and put it up in my room because I really liked how funny the animals looked when they were smoking as an elementary schooler, which feels to me like a failure. I mean, I guess I didn't start smoking, but
Yeah, you just like
they were
pictures, yeah.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
funny. They're
you
funny
know,
animals.
they are funny, they're really funny. You know who's cool is
Um,
that Joe Camel guy.
oh yeah, no, that guy rules.
There's
Um,
another poster in the background I can't make out, it's blurry, but it looks like a large silhouette of a hand. I'm wondering if that's Marco's hand that he drew on the wall.
how large?
It's really large, so I think it might be
Mm.
his hand from when he was a couple years younger.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say maybe it's his hand from when he's older.
No,
You know what I
because,
mean?
like, I think, the way that Marco's hand size works
You
is
think they shrink?
sometimes it grows, sometimes it shrinks, sometimes it's the same. It's just not consistent.
You don't think that maybe he's got like he'll just never stop growing, and this is
Mm.
like future Mark, or maybe by the time he's like our age, he'll be like 50 feet tall.
Right, right,
That's
right.
not something you like fantasize about sometimes.
I mean, now that you said that, I am. Speaking of fantasizing,
Hmm.
a group of men, wrangling another grown man in a classroom while 2 boys watch.
Yes. So as they're having another one of the should we help him conversations, Tom just walks by in the background, and they're like, "Oh shit, he got free." I don't really know how he got free.
We
It's
don't
kinda
know.
too bad the Animorphs didn't get involved in that plot line in any way, either to help and get
I think
foiled or
Tobias might have done it. I think it was Tobias.
eh,
He freed him.
fuck you, Tobias. He's always screeching, rescuing Tom's Yeerks so Jake can't have his brother, just because you don't have a family, Tobias. Um, yeah, so he shows up in Perkins' classroom with Chapman and 2 police officers.
All controllers, of course.
Yes. Although I was thinking at first, I was like, these cops don't have to be controllers. He could literally just say, my teacher kidnapped me and tied me up in a shack in the woods. Please come arrest him. But I
Yeah,
mean, they're controllers.
right. He could just say, like, "My teacher is thinking impure thoughts," you know?
Literally, he was tied up in a shack in the woods.
Sure, sure, but how could he prove that?
Maybe they're the ones who rescued him. Maybe they found him.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, cops don't
So
help people.
then they're about to,
Yeah.
fuck him up,
Yeah.
but
How do you feel
Marco
about
yeah,
Marco and Jake peeking out?
yeah. They're doing
Yeah.
their little Scooby Doo peeks
Uh huh. Uh
from
huh.
behind like a overturned table or something. I don't know what this is that they're behind. I
I
don't
am not sure.
I also am not sure how they knew to be here at this moment to
This.
watch
Oh, I
this.
think they're in the stairwell.
Okay, sure.
No, no, that can't be it. I don't know what the fuck it is.
And guess
Yes.
what? Finally, they morph.
They morph! Yay! Hooray!
Tiger and of course Wolf, Marco's
Mhm.
famous wolf morph,
Right. Yes.
and they scare everyone away without harming them.
Mhm, mhm. I do love d d Chapman, like, falls over and is all like, "You have the advantage on me now, Andalite, but you'll never win," and then Jake snarls, and then we just cut to Chapman at Visser 3's. I guess Jake left. He was like, "Alright, we scared him. I don't
Yeah,
need
we're
to
done. Our job's
it's
done.
fine. That doesn't blow my cover or anything."
But then, and yeah, I mean, yeah, but now now you have this conversation where Visser 3
Mhm.
berates Chapman because he's like,
Which
you
is
there was
great.
an Andalite in your school.
Mhm.
So that I mean, of course you can say, well, that's probably not going to amount to anything, but that's something that never
Yeah.
happens in the books.
Yeah, so this is a part that I think to me it just felt um like the writers just always forget that that they're pretending to be Andalites or what that means.
Mm. Well, yeah,
Um
I don't blame. They forget that there's Andalites because they never
y-
use them.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I think there's good things and bad things about this. So I'll just start with the bad thing. To me, I don't necessarily know that this follows, right? Saying there was a freed human controller who was trying to free high-ranking controllers, and Andalites showed up to save him, my initial thought is, "Oh, the Andalites were helping him." My thought is not, "Oh, they showed up in the school, they must be using the school as a front." Like, that doesn't connect to me. Um, Maybe it connects because at no point did they say, "We should approach Perkins as Andalites," uh, because the writers just don't think about Andalites, and they want you not to think about them either, but I can't help but think about Andalites. It
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
know.
so that feels kind of wonky to me. I don't know that it flowed into that.
Yeah, it's maybe a
That
bit of a leap.
yeah. That being said, I do love them berating Chapman. I love Tom getting in on the action,
Yeah.
and I actually do think that this is going to pay off. Um,
Mm. Wow.
because
Completely contradicting yourself, you fucking hypocrite.
yeah, normally I don't. That's why I said like we got to talk about the ending. Because th- they say there's Andalites using the school as a front or whatever, and Tom says that gives me an idea, and then they trail off, and they don't conclude that, and the next episode is the season finale.
Mhm.
Right? So that actually feels like maybe the rest of this episode
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Maybe Perkins does. I don't think Perkins is ever going to show up again. I don't think
I
we give a
think
shit about
well, we'll talk
Perkins.
about Perkins.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I personally didn't think so, but we'll talk about it. But I don't think that Tom getting captured mattered. I don't think any of that mattered, but I think that one scene at the end here Seth is trying to set up the finale. That's my
Yeah.
prediction for the finale is that
Hmm.
they're going to try to catch him at school because they know they're at school.
Hmm. And we're not at that segment of the podcast
We're
yet.
not at that segment.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't have said that, to be honest. This sort of fucks with the whole thing.
Listen, this is just where that's how I feel about this scene. It's part of what I like about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I like it for the same reasons pretty much. Yeah, I do feel that they're setting something up, and that I mean, potentially that changes the entire dynamic of the show. Like, that's a huge
Yeah.
thing. I mean, yeah, I don't think it will it's not like
Yeah.
they're gonna do a complete but I don't know, because remember, at this point,
Hmm.
they're almost out of books they can do. They
Unless they
might
bring the Drode in.
yeah, unless they bring the drone in. They might have been the producers might have been saying, "Hey, look, we're at a point where
Hmm.
you kind of have to take a different direction because if you don't,
Yeah.
then you have to make something up because there's nothing left to adapt."
Yeah.
Now we know
Yeah.
they're actually not going to run into that problem because the series will end and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. It's not my. You might be right. You might be right, especially because there is going to be a season break. So, that's a time to actually reimagine what the show is going to be in season two.
mm,
But like, I was not thinking, oh, this is going to set up the idea that from now on they know they're in the school. I was thinking this is going to set up the season finale where they try to catch them in the school and they somehow have to convince them that they're not at the school so
sure.
that we can go back to the status
Uh,
quo or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. You are right. The season break would be the time to shift that perspective.
I think you could kind of do both. Like
Hmm.
you can have some things still change. Like maybe one kid can't go to school anymore or
Hmm.
something. I don't know.
Rachel.
What was that? I think a dog was just barking. Rachel, Rachel.
Yeah.
Okay. But then the
Yeah.
final kind of the epilogue,
Yes. Jake meets Perkins at his camping spot in Milton Park.
which is this is really where I was like, this is an inappropriate meeting. this this student just talked to his teacher after class and
Yeah.
was like, "Where do you privately go camping?" and then meets him in the woods alone at night. It
Yeah.
felt very uncomfortable to me.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe that reinterprets this because I am over here like, what do you think? Perkins is supposedly speaking in code. And when Jake shows up, he's like, I had a feeling you might show up here because you asked about camping. Maybe Perkins is not a Yeerk. Maybe he was hitting on his students, and he's like, "Oh, Jake's interesting. I had a feeling you might show up here, Jakey baby."
This is what I'm saying. He starts taking his shirt off. Jake's like, whoa, I thought you were a controller." And he's like, "Yeah, I can control things if that's what you're into, Jake." Like, no, 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 no. This is maybe too dark. The listeners aren't gonna
Listen,
go with us on
it's
this.
fine. We're past the 2-hour mark, so
Right,
the only
right.
people listening, they're in too deep to leave now.
Right. But anyway, Jake or Perkins does mention the disc and says Visser 3 is
Yes.
close to unlocking it.
Yes, don't forget about the disc. It might be in the season conclusion, maybe.
Who knows? But also I st- I mean, this is not really anything new. This is kind of par for the course for all Animorphs, but
Mhm.
this is Jake's just really like Perkins could
Yeah.
get reinfested and then
Yeah.
the Yeerks would know everything that's going on. I mean, this is a terrible idea.
Again, why doesn't he show up as the tiger and be like, "I'm an Andalite, here
Mm.
to help you, Perkins.
Oh
Remember me
yeah.
from the school?" He doesn't even
Yes.
have to say that. He could just show up and be like, "It's me, the tiger from the school."
Right.
And maybe like, fine. Like,
Yeah.
no, but then you'd have to use an animal. He'd have to
Right.
morph. They don't do
I
that.
mean, that is why. It's purely budget and filming reasons.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Um here's my big thing
Mhm.
that I think I would change for this episode.
Mhm.
It should not have centered around Jake. It should have been, I think, Cassie, who has a relationship with a teacher. Come on.
Uh,
No, hold on. Just come on.
okay. Okay, yeah. Keep,
I think she makes more sense in this part to be the one who's going, "Oh my god, the Yeerks, something's wrong with them. We have to help our teacher. Maybe this can be good for us," and like and all this stuff, and Jake being the more rational leader guy who's like, "What are you doing? This is too risky. You can't do this." But the show is just set up so that Jake is the protagonist and he's always
yeah.
the active person in any given plot, even when I don't think it lends itself as well to his character.
Yeah, and also as we've said, like you're 100% right for the books.
That's
But
the
we have
problem.
said the characters don't always match up cuz like the Jake in the show is a lot less the like very pragmatic leader. I know it's bad, but we got to do it. He's a lot more like the all-American good kid. I'm friends with the teachers. They like me. I'm the all, whatever. You get the idea. Um
Yeah.
whereas I don't know that I get the same Cassie is friends to everyone vibe in the show like in the books, obviously, even if Cassie's not friends with her teachers, right? They're probably all like, "Oh, that Cassie, she's a good girl. She always makes, she's never causing trouble or whatever."
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't, but it also wouldn't feel wrong if Cassie
No.
did that in the show because there's not enough to counter it.
Mhm. No.
And
I
it
mean,
would have just given her an episode for Christ's sakes.
yeah, give her more. I mean, I also don't think it would have been wrong to center it around Marco.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that too.
because y- yeah, like you have that might have solved my problems with the like whole conflict thing because it's like, okay, Jake cares about his brother, sure, but if we center around why Marco feels uncomfortable with how, like, oh, I don't know, I think Jake's losing it, then maybe I get more perspective into why he thinks that they have to explore that concept more and like the actual stakes beyond just Jake cares about his brother get more illuminated. I don't know.
I don't know. I do think I don't know. I'm not sure how to phrase this or how you'll feel about it, but
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just that I've gotten used to the way the show is, but I feel like I have not had the issues. Maybe this is more season after season 1 talk, but early on it felt so much like, well, this character just wasn't even in this episode, or
Hmm.
why was it just these two guys and not everyone else was just gone for some reason. This episode had a nice, yes, it was still mostly Jake and Marco, but like Axe did get some good moments, and Rachel and Cassie and Tobias were all around and at least kind of like part of the discussion and everything. I think they have gotten a little better at balancing the cast.
Mm,
It's still not. They're still obviously like Rachel and Cassie are severely
yeah.
underserved, but I don't know. I didn't, at least in this episode, in this moment, it kind of all flowed in a way that I didn't feel like, oh man,
Mm.
where the fuck is Axe? Like, why isn't he here? Like everybody was around, and so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I wanna say it was good because I do feel like, they were all there, right? I was not saying, "How come they don't even show up on screen?" Tobias did have some lines, Axe had some good moments, um, Rachel had some good moments, but maybe just because the bar is so low for her. I did feel like Cassie kinda was just
Mm,
there, um but I you are right, and maybe it's because there have literally been Rachel and Cassie episodes now and even a
right.
Tobias episode. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, all right, they did have an episode. I do see them on screen. I'm not saying like they're not even here and they've never been the focus and what are we doing? So I don't know.
If it were, I think in
I
a
didn't have the problem.
vacuum, this
Mhm.
is this is a good way to do it. The problem is that the show is already so Jake and Marco centric
Mhm.
that it still feels unbalanced. But it's like if the next episode was more about Rachel and everyone else sort of went in the background the same amount as they were in this episode, then I think that's like how it should be going forward.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. Like I think the balance of the characters
Yeah.
in this episode was good. The problem is that all the other ones were so unbalanced. Cuz
Yeah, I think
you
that's
can't
reasonable.
focus on every character in every episode. It's just too much. So
Yeah.
like I liked the amount the background characters were, it was better than when they're just literally gone.
Yeah, they're laying low this episode.
Right, whatever the fuck that means. And plus, you
Rachel's
also
out
had
of town.
Tom a lot in the episode, so that also takes up a lot of. That's basically
Mhm.
an eighth character or something that you have to deal with. I
Yeah.
mean, there is a
And
lot. Like I
fucking
don't.
Perkins. There's a lot of Perkins
Yeah,
in this
yeah, a
episode too.
lot of Perkins, and you have a good amount of Visser 3. You even have Visser 1 in a scene. Like
Mhm.
honestly, considering all things considered, I don't. Whatever faults you lay on the episode, I can't blame the writers too much because considering the job they have to do, I feel like they did as well as they possibly could in 24 minutes getting this
Yeah.
all across.
I mean, I'll tell you this. I do think I would have. I don't think the plot was like particularly coherent. Uh, there were a lot of points where it didn't make sense, and there were a lot of points where like I just didn't even understand the stakes. And I think it could have helped by being been helped by being more focused. Like if the Perkins reveal hadn't happened, had happened like in scene 3 as opposed to like 2 scenes after the mid credits thing, and that had been the primary focus, it would have given me more time to explore that. But I
Hmm.
think that the primary issues I have with the writing are all coming down to how the plot of this particular episode was handled. I do think the specific characters were good, and you are right to say the writers I think did a perfectly reasonable and good job balancing the characters throughout this, which is not, that's not nothing. There was a lot to do there.
Yeah, I mean it's
Hit or
just
miss.
imagine being given this task of like adapt this new story that's kind of half a book. We have 6 kids, one of them's a bird. There's also these new characters you have to deal with and like make this all work and here's your
Yeah.
budget which is nothing and
Yeah.
it's tricky.
It is kind of hard to imagine that perspective because I do come from the place of like ever since I was a kid I've known these characters and thought about them. So if you're just like, boy, how do you balance all this and do plots? It's like, man, do you have any idea how many like fanfics I could spin off from any given scenario without even beginning to think about it? So like I guess it's probably harder for these adult writers who didn't read the series, but like I can't get a handle on is it actually difficult.
I would bet if anyone has read the books, I feel like the writers, well, they had to. Some of them had to
They
with their
had
because
to,
they're
right?
literally based
Yeah,
on
but
the
I don't
books.
remember.
Like, how else did they fucking know what they were about? They just read the back. They had to read them.
Okay, Applegate briefed them.
Yeah, right. Um, all right. So
Yeah,
I agree with some of your complaints, but I think we basically have made our positions clear.
yeah.
That I'm like, yeah, some things definitely could have been clearer. It's not a very clean episode. It's a little messy, but overall for the trajectory of the show, I thought it was one of the
Mm.
better ones.
Okay, like, for me, I would probably call this again, I moaned all episode because you liked it, and that is gonna make me exacerbate it. I would call this episode, like, probably around average for the show, which means not very good. I think you have to be above average to be good in this show.
I'm like, anytime I'm watching this show and I'm actually invested in it and I want to pay attention, that is a huge win. And I felt that this episode.
Okay.
I think the other episode to my mind that came closest to this in terms of that, or maybe it maybe did it better, but like similar, is the
Mhm,
capture.
mhm,
Both were like more serious episodes that had plot stuff and character stuff that I was like, whoa, like shit's getting real, sort of,
mhm.
That's that's kind of what I liked. you know.
Well, maybe we'll get that next
Getting real is
episode.
relative. Yeah, so let's talk about this. So the next
Yeah.
episode, next week we're doing a
Season
two-parter.
conclusion. Yes.
Right. It is actually a three-parter, but we are
Yes.
only watching the first two parts, which are season 1.
Yes, it's a three-parter, but the third part is the beginning of season 2. So we're gonna break it up the same way viewers might have had to break it up in between seasons.
So it is called the Face Off or just
I
Face Off?
I
Just
think it's
Face
just
Off.
Face Off. Yeah.
So we're probably gonna have to watch the movie Face Off for the Patreon.
No, don't spoil my outro.
Well, guess I did. So you're on record. Your prediction is it's going to be this. They're going after them in the school thing.
I think I think that they're gonna go after them in the school, and I think that they also brought up the disc, or Perkins brought up the disc at the end because the disc plot line is gonna come into play. But my
Mm.
prediction, this is my prediction, is that the disc part of the plot line won't matter until part 2, and, they won't actually get the disc by the end of the season, right? And that way, part 3 right, the first 2 parts will be about them at school, and the 3rd part will be them actually getting the disc back so they can unlock it. But that won't happen this season. That's my prediction.
Maybe it's just the Andalite Chronicles in 3 parts.
That would be
Maybe
really funny.
we just do the disc. That's it. It's the
If we
Face Off.
fucking open up on a dome ship with Captain Nerefear, I'm gonna lose my shit.
No, we'd open up on Visser 3 with the disc, and then we'd like do a little
Yeah,
blurry transition.
yeah.
I
Uh,
remember the time. Um, I'll tell you, up until we watched this week's episode,
mhm,
all season, knowing there was a 3-parter finale and knowing that it was called Face Off,
mhm,
my assumption, my guess, was that it was going to be David. That we were going to
mm,
do a 3-part David episodes. Um, that just seemed to me like the logical. We know those are
yeah,
popular books. You can do them pretty easy because it's just a kid in a school. There's a lot of shit you can cut out. You don't have to do any of the government shit.
mhm,
You can
mhm.
you can just do Animorphs v David and make that an exciting thing. A part of
I
me
would
still
love
thinks that
that.
might be it. I still think that they might just, for now, table all the shit that just happened and just do David.
Yeah, I mean, it is fully possible that none of that will, come up, but I would like to see David. Um, does David make more sense for the title Face Off, or is it just, like, a generic enough title?
That's
It's
the
the season
thing.
conclusion, so there's a confrontation,
Yeah,
right?
Face Off is so generic that it probably
Yeah,
is more likely that it's just a face off against Visser 3,
yeah,
like it's not
but it
it's
could be
just
David.
but here's the my only problem is with the just they're going after them in the school, whatever. How do you make that a 3-part episode? Like,
Well,
what
that
is if it's not based on a book, what is
yeah.
big enough and complicated enough for 3 episodes worth of material?
That is why I thought we were gonna use the disc, right? Like, part 1 is
Mm.
just the school stuff, part 2 is conclude the school stuff while also introducing the disc stuff, and then part 3 is disc stuff. That was my guess.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out parts 1 and 2 next week. Wow.
Maybe Perkins will come back.
For finishing the first season, it's really It's crazy.
If Perkins comes back and I don't get any more Visser 1, I'm gonna do something bad. I can't say on the
Huh.
podcast.
Okay. Oh, by the way, in the credits of this episode, they also mentioned a song called Private Offender by Asphalt Jungle. I don't know
Wait,
when
what?
that played, but it's in the credits.
What? I
That's a
didn't
song.
even see that. I
Yeah, it's
guess
in the
because I wasn't looking
credits.
for songs in the credits.
Yeah, that's in there.
Huh, maybe I gotta go listen to it and see, if I recognize it, because it sounded like it was just all regular Animorphs music.
I think my guess is it was playing in the cyber cafe in the background.
Yeah, that could be, that could be.
All right. Well, listeners, you'll have to email us. Let us know again what you think about this episode, the finale, how fast the dog can run, all the important things. The Yeerkyboys at gmail.com. We will read it on the air. And sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/the Yeerkyboys. This week, our bonus episode, we are going to be watching the Western classic, Big Jake. I don't think I need to explain any more than that.
I don't think you do.
$5 a month. It's worth every penny.
That's
You
a
can
gay
follow.
cowboy movie, right?
I
That's why
mean,
it's so big.
okay. You can follow me online at Quentz on Blue Sky or on YouTube, the Quentz on YouTube. I just put out a new video up there, over an hour long, a report. You may recall if you're a loyal listener of the show, that a year and a half ago or so, little over a year ago, we took a sort of a break period because we had a vacation trip to Japan. Well, it's all paying off for you now. I posted a video review of Tokyo Disneyland, and it's a lot of fun. You should go
I
check that
highly
out.
recommend his theme park reviews. They
See?
precisely simulate the experience of going to a theme park with Jonathan. You
Oh,
will
wow.
watch it and you'll be like, is this a performance he's putting on? Nope. He would be saying those exact same things if we were there, and in fact, he was when we were there. It's a good time. It's like hanging if you've got a parasocial relationship and you want to hang out with Jonathan in real life,
Yeah, right.
his videos is the next best thing.
Yeah. And if you're a theme park head, you got to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's where you can follow me. How about you?
Don't follow me.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time. Yeah, tune in next time when we'll be talking about the season 1 conclusion, Face Off, parts 1 and 2, in which Nicolas Cage turns into a John Travolta on the Yeerky Boys.